Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Alaikum. How y'all feeling? Shalom, Lakah family. Peace, peace, peace. Y'all climb on in. Peace to the gods, peace to the earth.
Hallelujah.
All praises, man. Beautiful Shabbat, beautiful rest day. Y'all climb on in. We're going to do part 2 of what we brought out a few days ago, which is talking about the conflicts within the Bible, the Torah, the Pentateuch, the Tanakh, whatever we want to call it. We finna get to it. We gonna go through these scriptures and we finna show y'all and finish off this presentation. The whole point of this presentation from the academic perspective is to show y'all the different contradictions in the Bible and to show y'all the different sources, how the Bible came together to prove this P document or this priestly source that we've been talking about. Because once you get into the priestly source of the document and you track back and you'll start seeing them set up the sacrifices, we can see where it come from. Now, are we saying that sacrifices started in Leviticus? No, we saying it started way before then. Are we saying that it started in the book of Genesis when it comes to Abraham? No, we're saying that all this is P document editors putting these things in there. Right. What we saying is the origin go back to the ancient land of Sumeria, the ancient Babylonian land in Chaldees, and this is where you get your Anunnaki from, your fallen messengers or fallen angels from. These things stem back in there. That's the reason why you can find sacrifices in the book of Enoch, Enoch book 1, 2, and 3. That's the reason why they there, because these things are high demonic rituals that was given to us by different beings that come from different solar planetary systems, or who we gonna call fallen messengers or fallen angels, or you can call them the Anunnaki. They go by many different names, y'all.
Right. The Watchers.
The origin starts from there. And then it trickled down, and you will see these being practiced in ancient Mesopotamia by the Sumerians. Then you will see it being practiced by Pharaoh and the whole house of Egypt, or Mishraim in Egypt. And then we learned and we took bits and pieces from there. Then you will see it widely practiced amongst the Canaanites, and the land of Canaan and the land of Israel is the same thing. So it is no coincidence that we are doing all these different practices and spiritual ritualistic sacrifices to different deities, and you can trace these deities all the way back to original source before the Bible was ever even created, before there ever was even a scroll, y'all. So we got to really keep our minds open when we learning this information, because a lot of people think, well, okay, it's sacrifices in Genesis, well, it's sacrifices in the book of Enoch, right. Well, it's sacrifices before there, and y'all are proving our point. These sacrifices is way before there were ever even Hebrew. Way before you see Abraham getting called Hebrew in Genesis chapter 12. Way before you see Hebrew even turning, and Jacob even turning, having a son, and his name is turned to Israel. You see what I'm saying? Way before his name is even turned to Israel. So we're going to track it down. We're going to show y'all all these sources. And look, just walk down with us, walk this path with us. And if you agree, that's cool. If you don't agree, that's cool. We're doing nothing but presenting the information, y'all. And that's what this is about. If you can't grow spiritually in this truth, then what are you in this truth for?
Excellent point. Also, y'all, we brought up last time 2nd Ezra 14 and 21. We didn't read it. We just brought it up for you to reference. And that's the proof when we were in ancient Babylon that the law, or what you call Hatawara, or the Torah, you know what I mean, that it was burnt. You know what I mean? Meaning what Moses wrote down, you know what I mean, in the beginning was burnt by the time we got into Babylon. That's why 2nd Ezra 14 and 21 is there, right? Now, as you keep reading, it says that the Holy Spirit jumped on Ezra, right? And he spoke, and then scribes start writing, and they wrote 204 books.
Oh, 204, huh?
Yeah, so a lot of y'all under the impression that the Torah that we are reading and received, that's even Ezra's Torah that he was inspired to speak, and that the scribes wrote down every utterance of him. But there's just one problem. That's 204 books.
Come on.
The Torah is 5 books.
Come on.
Okay? Also, it ain't even 204 books in your Bible.
So it ain't neither of those.
You know what I mean? It's 80 if you include the Apocrypha.
Right.
You understand? What you have, believe it or not, well, the next Negro gonna be like, well, you know what? Well, it's 204 chapters in the Hatawara.
No, don't. You can't play those games.
It's 187 chapters.
Facts.
Point being, you don't have even what Ezra was inspired to speak and that his scribes wrote down. What you have in Babylon Because what came out of Babylon as well was the Babylonian Talmud,
Ooh.
which oral tradition developed amongst Levitical scribes in captivity.
The Mishnah also came out too.
The Mishnah as well, right? Also, what came out is a refurbished or a reworked history of what people call Moses writings.
Come on now.
You understand? All that was done in ancient Babylon. Now, trip about this. There's a prophet in the Bible that witnessed Jerusalem fall to Nebuchadnezzar's forces. His name is Jeremiah,
Facts.
the prophet. Well, he prophesied that your teachers, aka your scribes, will be working a false writing or a false pen. My question to everybody is, when did that prophecy come into play?
When?
Because obviously by the time the Messiah was on the scene, one of his chief adversaries were the scribes.
Yep. Fact.
So you're under the illusion that what you have is Moses' writings. No, it wasn't. It was burnt. 2 Ezra 14:21.
Fact.
Yo, next step you're going to go to, you're going to say this. Well, we got the Holy Spirit jumped on Ezra and told Ezra to write. Yeah, but Ezra spoke and the scribes wrote out 204 books.
And you
don't got that either.
So what do we got?
So what were you delivered, you know what I mean, and was what prescribed or Moses' name put on it? That's what it was. They call it pseudo-anonymity or pseudo-anonymous or something like that to this day. You know what I mean? Where things get written down hundreds of years after an event and then they'll put somebody's name on it. The Testament of Naphtali, the Testament of Reuben. Well, unless those documents are 4,000 years old, you understand, then somebody else wrote that and put down on there the Testament of Reuben,
Facts.
the Testament of Naphtali,
Facts.
the Testament of Issachar. You know what I mean? And it's the same. Look, and we've been receiving these writings as inspired, but the same thing happened with them. It's the same thing that happened with your Torah. So now you understand, dealing with Christ, the Messiah. You understand? Him being the anointed promised prophet that would come, he the only one that would understand and know what Moses originally taught in his original Torah,
Facts.
what he wrote down.
Facts.
That's what he came to restore. The only way you can understand what the Messiah was teaching concerning Moses' original Torah is to learn his teachings from his 12 disciples that he ordained to send forth, who came the 12 apostles, whose names are in the foundation of the New Jerusalem. I hope that helped y'all out a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I hope that helped y'all out a little bit, because there's a lot of Negroes fancy themselves as our enemies, call themselves firing off at us, and all y'all are missing.
Yeah.
You're not even hitting the point. You know what I mean? You're missing. You out. Look, your best shooter is firing blanks.
Yeah, y'all full of emotions and y'all
Yeah.
not dealing with the academics nor the information.
Absolutely,
So what
bro.
y'all are doing, y'all trying to assassinate our characters, and y'all, you know, why he saying peace to the gods, peace to the earth. Don't even know the origin of that. Well, why he got on a lily flower on his neck. Don't even know the origin of that. So yeah, what y'all are doing is y'all are trying to assassinate our characters because y'all can't deal with the academia.
That's right.
That's exactly what's going on. And make no mistake about it, this is not a new doctrine, y'all. This doctrine been around for 4,000 years. This doctrine been around way longer than your new doctrines that y'all are calling all these different teachings in the way of life or the truth. The Nazarene doctrine been around that long. The Essene doctrine, this been around since Genesis 1:29, y'all. That's
Absolutely.
in the beginning.
Absolutely.
That is the literal law. That's the diet that was given and that was commanded to Adam and Hawa in the garden, and even to the animal kingdom, was what? Fruits, vegetables, and herbs, y'all. So this is not nothing new that we're talking about. This stuff is old. We're just bringing it back out because it's been revealed, and Yahweh breathed this Nazarene spirit back into the earth, and it had to be
Hallelujah.
vessels. It had to be vessels willing to bring this truth back out. So we get it. If Yahweh is going to rebirth this and bring this movement back to the forefront, because that is the pure truth, then of course you're going to have your modern day Sadducees, scribes, and Pharisees that's going to be trying to pin and nail us to the cross. So, you know, hey, look, I love it. We love the enemies because we know what we're teaching is true, because of the enemies is rising up against us at this last time. Y'all doing nothing but validating our point further and further and further. So please keep hating. Please keep talking about us. Please keep mentioning our channel and mentioning our names, and please keep promoting this, y'all, because when people come and they listen to the information without a biased opinion and without their feelings and their emotions being hurt, then they can be gained into this way and this truth as well. So hey, we thank y'all.
Absolutely, boy. Hey, look, and the bombs that's dropping and the reaction that these Negroes is acting like, bruh. we must have then pulled the demons out that flesh, boy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The demons must have been hiding in the flesh.
That's where they
because
at.
it's wild. It's Negroes or men that call themselves brothers, right? That came outside and they're Israelites, but they teach against keeping the Shabbat, which is an eternal law of the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
What are the videos about them? And look, we ain't tripping because this ain't they war anyway. I'm just saying, look how hypocritical everybody be.
Yeah, fact.
That's it. That's hypocrisy. Like they actually are teaching against feast days. They're teaching against, you know what I mean, the holy Shabbat, which is an eternal law of the Most High. They teaching against that. None of you mealy mouth Negroes that made a video. Some of you suckers live with them. You know what I mean? And then nobody ever came out and said that. As soon as we attack the flesh, boy, everybody. You know what I mean? Then they come with the ad hominem attacks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You want to attack our personal situations instead of dealing with the information. You know what I mean? So look, we love y'all indeed in the truth, regardless if you call yourself friend or foe. You know what I mean? We gonna bring this out in truth, sincerity, and love. Anybody attacking us from an angle of anger, envy, aggression, conflict, you gonna lose.
Facts.
You gonna lose.
That's not a way to go to war.
Nah.
You gotta be calm in this war.
That's right.
All right, so let's get it. So what we're going to do is I'm finna share my screen with y'all, and we're going to do a small little recap real fast. If y'all can see my screen, type in some 9s, and we're going to get everything started. So I'm going to share my screen real fast. All right, if y'all can see this on the screen before we blow it up, type in some 9s. We're going to recap it. We're going to get everything started. Shalom, shalom to all the Nazarites, Essenes that's in the chat. Hey, look, let's live. Let's choose to live, y'all. Let's choose to live.
Absolutely.
Type in y'all 9s. We're going to get everything started. Once we see y'all 9s, we're going to get everything started. All right, we see the 9s. All right, let's go and get to it. Let's go and get to it. And if y'all can hear us good, type in some 9s as well. We'll type in some 8s if y'all can hear us good. If y'all can hear us good, and if y'all can see the screen, type in some 8s. And shalom, shalom to everybody that's piling on in. We looking for some 8s, and then we'll get it started.
Get her
All right, we
done.
all good. Let's do it. All right, so let me blow this up for y'all. We finna recap for a little taste, and then for about 10-15 minutes, and then we gonna get it started. Let me start back right here. Let's blow this on up.
The recap from Thursday.
Yeah, so what this is a recap from Thursday. We're going to spend 10-20 minutes on that, and then we're going to get into part 2. All right, we're going to get into part 2. So what we named this was Conflicts and Contradictions of Our Biblical Text, which we have proven without a shadow of a doubt there are in there. Whether you want to choose to see it or not, they are there. Remove the ego, and you will be able to see all of this stuff. So the first thing we went over was the creation, and we was talking about how in creation in Genesis chapter 1 from the Elohim source, you know, and look, this is academia. This is taught in seminary school. All theologians that get they bachelors and they doctrines in this learn the same thing. We didn't come up with this stuff. We didn't come up with these hypotheses or these theories, which is no longer a hypothesis. This is actual facts now, according to all of the universities, according to all of the professors, and according to all the theologians. This is now a fact. It was a hypothesis for a long time, but literally 5 to 7 years ago, they had ordained this a fact. It can be proven. It can be proven. It can be proven. So we ain't bringing this out like this is something that just fell out of the sky. This is a 800-year-old investigation, y'all. Let me say it again. This is a 800-year-old investigation, meaning Malachi Maccabee and Yaki ain't the first people that seen this. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of professors that are scholars been seeing this same thing as well, y'all. So check this out. So the first thing I want to show y'all is we had went to the day of creation story and showed y'all that there's a different author, because in traditionalism, and when you get into the oral tradition, they say that Moses actually wrote the Torah, right? But when you are reading through what we got as the Torah, you will see Moses did not write this at all. And you can see it in the penmanship. You can see it in the characteristics of the writings. You can see into the subjections of the writings, how they call God different name, how they ordain God, and how they look at God, whether in a human form or in a cosmic form. So when you get to the creation story, when you get to your Elohim doctrine in Genesis chapter 1 and verse 26, it says, and God said, let us make man in our image and in our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air and over the cattle and over all the earth and over every creepy thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image, and the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. When you start really getting into it, notice we see the word Elohim. But when you get into Genesis chapter 2, the author had to change because the name of God changed to Yahweh Elohim or to Yahweh El. So we got two different names of the creator, and the creator is looked at in two different ways. In Genesis chapter 1, the creator is looked for being more cosmic. He's not hands-on with his creation. But then when you get into Genesis chapter 2, we see Yahweh El or Yahweh Elohim. He's more intuitive. He's more hands-on with his creations. He's shaping, he's molding, he's shaping Adam out of the dust of the ground. He picks up Adam and place him into the garden. He do an operation and surgery on Adam, and he take a rib and create Kawal, who we call Adam, and he's blowing into the nostrils of Adam. So when you get into Genesis chapter 2, Bereshit chapter 2, we also see that his name changed and how he's involved with his environment and his creation changes as well.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I'm just going through these. We don't want to read them all. If y'all want to go through and read them, go back to our first one we did on Thursday, and we actually read through it and broke it down in great detail. This is just a recap.
Hey, and also once we're done with this presentation, we will be emailing it out to everybody who want one.
Facts.
You know what I mean? We here to share all our sources. We not hide anything. You know what I mean? And then look, you may find something that we ain't find. You dig?
All right, let's get to the next one. Mm-hmm. So the next one, we get into the animals and the creation of the animals, and basically it says God created animals before he created man. Mm-hmm. All right, now we see this, and again you see Elohim in Genesis 1 or in Bereshit 1 again, and then when you get to Genesis chapter 2, which is a different source, a different penmanship, a different author or scribe over this text, you see that we see Yahweh Elohim being his name being changed to that, and we see that God created animals before he created man in Genesis chapter 1. Then when you get to Genesis chapter 2, we see God created man before he created the animals, right? And then you have some people make stupid comments and say, what about seagulls? What about land birds? Well, that is not our argument. We believe in water birds and land birds. We are saying the origin of when the fowl was created, period. We talking about the origin, not its disposition and not its purpose. You know, a seagull purpose is to stay on the sea, and that's how he get most of his food. An eagle purpose is to stay on the land, and he died for his fish, or he died. They be around the sea a lot too. We're not talking about their purpose and how they hunt and how they live their lives. We're talking about their origin,
right?
Their origin, right. And according to Genesis chapter 1, the origin of all the birds and all the fowls come from a different part, which is the water. Then in Genesis 2, we see the origin of the birds and of the fowls come from the ground.
That's right.
It's a difference, y'all. It's a difference. So we just going through the scriptures and showing y'all that there is different scribes that are criticizing the text, that are editing the text, and most of the time they're doing it for a specific agenda, y'all. And that's where we got to be careful at, because now once you start changing the biblical text or the text that we say is the word of God for agenda, you know, for gains and monetary profit, then it becomes for evil purposes, and that's going to change the whole method of how we got our scriptures anyway. All right, now let's keep it going. Now we get into the origin of creation of the fowls like we just spoke about, so I'm not going to speak on it again. I'm just going to read the red, and then we're going to go to the next slide. Again, if y'all want to read this in go back over this in great detail, go back to the first lesson. All right, so in Genesis 1:19-21, the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that have life and the fowl that may fly. Then when you get to Genesis 2, and notice the names are different too. In Genesis 1, his name is always Elohim. When you get to Genesis 2, the name of God changed to Yahweh El or Yahweh Elohim. You see, that's a difference, meaning that they even took how personal they was with the creation differently. If you calling him by the name of powers, then it's like you're not really that close and personal with him. But if you give him a specific name and put that yod in there, which is a possessive letter right there, you're saying that he is your God, and he is to be, and he is the God of powers. So it's even a different way that the scribes and the writers or even looking at the relationship with the creator. These are two totally different writings. So one says waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that have life and the fowl that may fly. Then you get to Genesis Bereshit chapter 2. It says out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air. So we even got two different origins of the creations of the birds, y'all. Then you keep going. Look, this stuff goes on and on and on and on. And let's reread this real quick, Maccabee.
Deity and Creation Vocabulary by Dan Clanton. The terms for the deity are different in both accounts. Verbs for creation are different. The P story, Genesis 1:1-2, and 4a. The verb for creation is bara, to create.
See that? So even the way they looked at the creation in Genesis 1, it was as if Yahweh created everything. Notice it used the word bara, which means to create. But then when we get into different parts, it's not going to use bara, it's going to use asa, means to make. There's a difference between God creating a tree and him making a table from the wood of that tree. So they even looking at the way he's in his creation differently, showing you again that these are multiple sources and multiple writers or multiple scribes, y'all. Let's keep reading.
Which is used exclusively with the deity. Verbs in J are common. The first instance of creation, Genesis 2:4. In the J account, or the Yahweh document, Genesis 2:4b-3 and 24, is articulated by the verb asa, to make or do, an extremely common verb. The second verb used in 2 and 7 is yatzar, meaning to form or shape, as a potter or artisan, another common verb.
So we even see that in the beginning, a part of creation is different. The way they even express and use the Hebrew language, they are using totally different vocabularies and totally different meanings and definitions of the words, showing y'all that this have to be separate scribes and not the same scribes. Now, the reason why we running through this, because we mainly want to focus on the pre-source, because the pre-source is what's going to bring out the origin of sacrifices and the reason behind the sacrifices and why it was in our Torah and Tanakh in the first place, y'all.
Right. And again, y'all, because some of y'all may be saying, well, you know, the Levitical tribe, that was way after Abraham, but we got Abraham sacrificing Noah and all that. If you listen to what we said in the beginning, the Torah that you have today is the work of Levitical scribes while we were in ancient Babylon, meaning every story that you have of Abraham, every story that you have in Genesis, every story that you have from different brothers, Noah, all that comes from them. It don't come from Moses.
Facts.
It comes from them. And it's not even the scribes that wrote down what Ezra was prophesying, because that was 204 books, not 5 books. Facts. You know what I mean? So of course, if the priests have an agenda, of course you will see, going all the way back to Genesis, them showing signs of sacrificing.
That's right.
You know, sacrifice with Noah, sacrifice with Abraham. You know what I mean? Sacrifice Jacob and them was sacrifice. Abraham fed flesh to the angels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of course you're going to see all that, because if the priests in Babylon have an agenda, you know what I mean, or the Levitical scribes have an agenda, then everywhere you see something about one of our righteous patriarchs sacrificing or doing something priestly, guess where it came from? It came from them.
Yes.
While we were in Babylon, how do we know it came from them? Because the Torah was burnt.
Facts.
2nd Ezra 14 and 21. It was burnt. You know what I mean? And before you say, well, Ezra was prophesying and the scribes wrote it down. Yeah, they did, but you don't got what they wrote down.
You don't.
You know what I mean? Because trip off this, he was told to hide 70 of what was written down and publish everything else openly. Well, that leaves 134 books.
Yes.
You still ain't got it then.
Facts.
If your Torah is only 5 books and your whole Bible only 80.
Yeah, you gotta make it make sense, and
Exactly.
you gotta get out of your ego, and you gotta get out of being afraid, and you most definitely gotta get out of the indoctrination, y'all. Once you get out of that, it's there and it's plain as day.
Yeah.
And then look, you get over into 1 Kings chapter 4 and 26. It says, and Solomon had 40,000 stalls of horses for his chariots and 12,000 horsemen. But if you go down to 2 Chronicles chapter 9 verse 25, it says, and Solomon had 4,000 stalls of horses and chariots. You see that, and 12,000 horsemen. So even when you're going all throughout the Torah, you're going to see a whole lot of contradictions and misconceptions, y'all. And look, we didn't bring this forth and we didn't put this here. This was here hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years before I was even born into this flesh. Y'all see that?
If we talking about Babylon, you talking about 2,500 years ago.
You see what I'm saying?
So our question is this, y'all. Is 40,000 the same as 4,000?
No, it's not.
And if it's not, be real with yourself. That's all we saying. That means there's flaws in what we reading.
Yes, and is the water the same thing as the ground?
No, it's not.
It's
Just
not.
be real with yourself, man.
No, it's not.
You know what I mean? That's it. And look, that don't mean you don't got faith in the Most High. No. That don't mean you don't believe in His anointed, beloved Son. You understand? If anything, we even more on fire now.
We believe in the Messiah even more.
Even more now.
booster.
But you got to be real with yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even during the days of the disciples and the Holy 12 Apostles and all them, when you get into their writings, they were taught how to properly handle what they received as the law from Moses, because they understood the lion pen of scribes. We just don't understand it today. Fact. Because we've been seduced to thinking it all line up and harmonize. Well, if it does, 4,000 and 40,000 would be the same. Water and ground would be the same.
Straight up, and Yahweh's name would not change.
Just be real with yourself is all we saying. Or the order of creation.
The order of creation wouldn't change either.
Genesis 1 and Genesis 2, even the order is different in how everything was created.
Facts. And we brought this all out. Y'all can go back to the first one that we did like this, and we broke it down in great detail.
Exactly.
Now let's keep it going. So again, and this one speaks about Christ and his betrayal. We got one where Christ speak about his betrayal after breaking the bread and drinking, and then we got another instance where Christ speak about the betrayal before breaking bread and drinking. I mean, it goes so on and so forth. This another one with the name of Moses' father. Both of them are in Hebrew. In Exodus, Shemot chapter 3 verse 1, his father-in-law's name Jethro. In Exodus chapter 2 verse 16 to 17, it is Ruel. See, and look, both of these are both Hebrew names, so you can't say one was a Egyptian name, one was a Medunetra name, or one was a Midian name and one was a Hebrew name, because we got the Hebrew concordance for both of them. So we even got name changes. And look, this is a chapter apart, just like Genesis 1 and Genesis 2 is only a chapter apart. Just like we're gonna keep reading. It ain't like we're doing different books apart and they not lining up, even though we just did that with First Kings and Second Chronicles. We're talking about most of these contradictions are only chapters apart, and sometimes it'd be a contradiction in the same chapter, just different verses, showing y'all that different sources came together and wrote these scrolls and then mushed them together and formed a purpose and a agenda at the end. That's what we're saying. And look, we not just saying these things, we are proving these things. You do not have the Torah that was given to Moses. You don't. You have a refurbished Torah that was given to us after the Babylonian captivity. That's what we're saying. And look, we're proving these things, so you can leave all your philosophies, your indoctrinations, and your emotions at home. Let's just deal with the academia here. Let's deal with the academics. Let's just deal with that.
And we're gonna show those who have PhDs in theology, you know what I mean, speaking about these same things. Y'all, we didn't make any of this up. That's the point. You know what I mean? And again, why are people arguing over a priesthood that, look, you ain't even sacrificed? What are you arguing about?
Yeah.
Why is everybody lining up to argue about a priesthood and sacrifices that none of y'all are doing?
Yeah.
What are we arguing about?
Yeah.
How are you arguing about a faded glory?
Come on now.
Like, how are you arguing about the bins that came out in 1980, 1984, and it's 2021?
Yeah.
How are you bragging about something whose glory has faded? That's all we asking, man.
All right, let's keep it going. All right, now we got Moses at the mount. We even got the different names of the mountains in Exodus 3 and 1, just the same we seen it the last time where they called him Jethro. Now it's calling the mountain Horeb, but then when you get to Exodus Shemot 19, it's calling it Mount Sinai.
Right.
You see that? Now when you go, you can find these same Hebrew concordance, so showing you that different scribes from different parts of Israel called the names of the mountain different, called the names of Yahweh different, call certain names of tradition different. Like, and all the stories don't line up. You have doublets, where stories that are double or even triple in every story do not say the same thing. You get that even with your New Testament when you get to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. All their accounts is not the same accounts.
And look, that's being truthful.
They not.
That's being truthful.
They're not. Now look, let's keep it going, because it gets deeper and deeper. The instructions that was given to Moses, when you get Noah, when you get to the E document, let's read it. It says Noah makes no sacrifice in the E document. No, and you're gonna realize why he didn't, because the E document was heavily saturated with the priest, and we're gonna prove that as well. And it says no one ever offers up a sacrifice prior to Aaron in the E document and his bloodline in Exodus when studying the E document, and you see why they did that, and you you see why they put it in certain places, because they had to make it seem like that the patriarchs are like Abraham and like Enoch. They had to put it in there to make it seem like they were doing these same sacrifices when they wouldn't. So look, it says, "And every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shall thou bring into the ark," right? That's in Genesis chapter 6. But when you get into Genesis chapter 7, it says, "Of every clean beast thou shalt take of thee by 7s, the male and female, and the beasts that are not clean by 2." So we even got different instructions in 2 chapters. That's a chapter apart from one another. So then people will say, well, that's what's clean and unclean. No, this says Genesis 6 and 19.
And of every living thing, and of every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shall thou bring into the ark to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female.
But then you get down to Genesis chapter 7. Let's read that, verse 2.
Genesis 7 and 2. "Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by 7s."
Hold on, not by 2s?
7s.
See that? Come on.
"The male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by 2, the male and his female."
Showing you that it's 2 different writers here. It's 2 different scribes, y'all. And I know it's hard to admit this, but it is what it is. And look, it keeps going. It keeps going. Now, look, within the same chapter, Noah enters the ark twice. Why is that? That's showing you the scribes is mushing their letters and their scrolls together. Look, in Genesis 7 and 7, what that say, Maccabee?
Genesis 7 and 7. "And Noah went in, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him into the ark because of the waters of the flood."
And look, y'all, this is all out of the King James Version. We're not mushing different versions together. Everything we reading out of is the King James Version. Y'all can go check it yourselves, because I'm pretty sure everybody that's on this chat have a King James Version Bible. Come on.
Genesis 7 and 13. "The self same day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them into the ark."
See that? Now it shows you it's 2 writers and two writers. The first scribe is just based off of Noah. He's specifically interested and focused on Noah. But in the second scribe that's entering when they mush the stories together, he's more interested into everybody name. Just like in Genesis 1, you don't see a place, you don't see a location, but in Genesis 2, you see places, you see rivers, you see locations, eastward in Eden, the garden. You start seeing names and details of what come out of these places. You got the onyx stones, you got gold, you got maps that are actually being created. Same thing in Genesis 7, you don't see really where they at, and all you hear about is Noah in the ark in the waters. But when you get to Genesis chapter 7, he's naming everybody in the family. He's getting more specific and detail with his scroll, with his penmanship, showing you that these are different penmanship. These are different scribes that have different ink. And look, when you start studying the text and everything, even the penmanship is different. Some was writing in Hebrew cursive, and the other one was just writing in regular Hebrew. You see even different writings when you start really Googling this stuff, and y'all can just find this stuff on YouTube. We're not making this stuff up. Let's keep going. So now I want to get to this part, because this is what we weren't able to hit on. We weren't able to hit on this. Even when you get to the commandments, the commands are different. We're going to start seeing how they started trying to make the sacrifice a command, and they needed to do that because they was trying to do capitalism. They had to centralize the temple. It was too many rogue Hebrews going around setting up their own altars and offering up their own sacrifice to who they believe was Yahweh, because they have never sacrificed to Yahweh, because there's plenty prophets that showed and proved that Yahweh never wanted the sacrifices and he never accepted them. Until you look at the priests and what they put in there, then it's perceived as he accepted them. You have one document saying that it was a sweet savior to his nose and to his nostrils, and it was accepted. Then you have other documents and writings of scribes saying that he did not like them and he rejected the smells. So then you have even contradictions in that. Now the reason why you're going to start seeing this when we get to Exodus chapter 34, which is totally different than Exodus 20, and Exodus 20 come before Exodus 34, is because the priests had to start writing their agenda in the scrolls for when they set up their bank, when they set up their education system, when they set up their library, when they set up their sacrificial place, and when they set up their hospital, which is all of this was the temple, y'all. The temple was the centralization of Israel. You had to go to the temple every day for something. And it makes sense why, because they had an agenda. The same way that the Rothschilds set up the central banking intelligence systems is the same way Aharon and his bloodline set up the temple. Look, they are good for generational wealth is what's created from this, because if you wasn't a part of the bloodline, you couldn't even be in the holies of holies, and you couldn't even make propitiation for the land of Israel, showing you that all of their money, all their land after they got arrested was given to them, all of your temp deals was given to them, your food was given to them, and all of them free animals that they received was given to them for free. Y'all, how are y'all not seeing this agenda?
And they was able to sell them sacrifices too.
Yes, they were.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that. Hey, look. If you just be real with yourself, look, they tell you today, if you want to know what's happening or the true agenda behind anything, just follow the money, man.
Yeah, just follow the money.
Follow the money. You'll run right back into the culprit.
Yep, fact.
You know what I mean? Who's the one that has the agenda behind the whole thing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now,
And I feel you bringing this out, because whenever we go into the commandments, we always say Exodus 20 and Deuteronomy 5.
Why we never
bring up Exodus 34?
Don't nobody ever bring up Exodus 34 because it is full of sacrifices and commanded feasts. And at these commanded feasts, guess what there is? Commanded sacrifices. And not only that, you're eating your sacrifice, showing you can't separate sacrifices from meat eating. And that's what a lot of Hebrews been doing. In order to eat meat, you have to kill it. Killing something is sacrificing it. That's what it is. If you're killing it, you're sacrificing it. Even if you're not aware and knowledgeable of that, that's what it is. So let's read this real quick. So look, what I did is I put this together this way. This Exodus chapter 34, verse 4, verse 6, 14 to 26. And then we're going to read Exodus chapter 20, and we're going to read Deuteronomy 5. So if you want to start right here, Maccabee, let's start at that and let's get it on in.
Exodus 34 and 4. For thou shalt worship no other power. For the Most High, whose name is jealous, is a jealous power. Verse 2, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a whoring after their gods, and do sacrifice unto their gods. And one call thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice.
And thou what?
Eat of his sacrifice.
So we finna see eating of sacrifices. Now we're gonna see, don't eat of them sacrifices, but eat of a sacrifices when it comes to your God. And notice, once we get into the other commandments, it says, for thou shalt not worship no other God, for the Lord, whose name is jealous and is God. We're gonna see, we are even gonna see when we read through these chapters, the name of God changes as well, showing you there's different scribes and different integrity of penship, y'all. All right, let's keep reading.
And thou take of their daughters unto thy sons, and their daughters go a whoring after their gods, and make thy sons go a whoring after their gods. Thou shalt make thee no molten god.
You see that? Thou shalt make thee no molten god. Just like thou shalt not have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not use the Lord God name in vain. So what we're reading is commandments. Why this never been pulled out in class though? Right. And nobody ever pulled out Exodus 34 because it sounds totally different from Exodus 20 and Deuteronomy 5. Now we finna start getting into straight sacrifice laws that's commanded. And it's gonna be a contradiction with Acts chapter 15 all day with James, because we finna see things getting strangled, necks getting broken, everything. Yahweh commanded that. Come on, okay.
Verse 5, the feast of unleavened bread shall thou keep 7 days. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread as I commanded thee in the time of the month of Abib.
Real quick. Yes, we are reading from the King James Version, y'all. King James Version. What are we reading? If y'all look up, we're reading Exodus Shemot chapter 34, verses 4, verses 6, and then 14 to 26. What I did was put them together, y'all. Same chapter. I just put them together and I labeled them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like I did with everything else. So we are in the King James. We're not in the NIV. We're not in the NLT. We're not in the New King James. We're in what the Hebrews love to read out of, which is the King James Version Bible. We haven't mixed nothing up. We haven't changed anything. This is actually screenshots of the Blue Letter Bible, and I did that on purpose for people wouldn't think I came in to change things up. I actually screenshotted them off of blueletterbible.org. All right.
Right. Again, we're in Exodus 34, verse 4, verse 6, and then 14 through 26.
That's right.
All right. What was we at? The feast of unleavened bread shall thou keep 7 days. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread as I commanded thee in the time of the month of Abib. For in the month of Abib thou camest out of Egypt. All that openeth the matrix is mine, and every firstling among thy cattle, whether ox or sheep that is male. But the firstling of an ass thou shalt not redeem with a lamb. And if thou redeem him not, then shalt thou break his neck.
Do we read this in the 10 Commandments in Shemot chapter 20? Do we read that? Do we read that? I ain't never read that. So where did this come from? And then if you track back the penmanship and the characteristics of the penmanship, it came from your peace source, your priestly source. The Kohanes wrote this in her. We don't read this in Exodus chapter 10. We don't read.
Right, Exodus 20,
Exodus chapter 20, forgive me. Nor Deuteronomy 5. But all of a sudden, we get into Shemot chapter 34. We start seeing animal sacrifices and strangling animals.
That deal say break his neck.
Break his neck. Strangling animals. Come on.
Thou shalt break his neck. All the firstborn of thy sons thou shalt redeem, and none shall appear before me empty.
All right, now look. So check this out. This is a mirror. That's why I put them all together. Let's go to Shemot chapter 20 and just read these ones. Shemot chapter 20. Let's start at the first one.
Exodus 20 verses 2 through 17.
That's right. It's conflict, y'all, and that's all we want y'all to see is the conflict. Now, if you see the conflict and you're able to accept that, and once you get out your indoctrination, now you have to ask yourself, okay, why is there conflict?
Yeah.
Now, that question will lead you to freedom of the truth. If you're not ready to arrive at that point, then you just sit on down and stay in your indoctrination. But if you are, and that big old why come up, now it's time to research, and it will blow your mind the things you find. Look, every organization have corruption in it. Every last one of them. Every school have corruption in it. Every fraternity have corruption in it. CIA, FBI, armies, everybody have corruption. Y'all think that this, which is the #1 movement and influence on planet Earth, everybody talks about Jesus, everybody talks about the Bible, everybody know about this religion. Y'all don't think that this would have corruption? Y'all think all the priests was righteous when you see Malachi chapter 2 talking about the wickedness of the priests? Yeah. Y'all don't think that there were no corruption, and y'all don't think that there were no agendas with religion. We see the white European slave master use the very religious book and use it for slavery. Y'all don't think that nobody else in Israel was doing the same thing? Right. Come on, man. Like, quit being so naive. You're thinking like a child if you really think that.
Yeah.
You're thinking like a child if you don't think that there were evil men in the temple. If you don't think there were men that wanted their own agenda a part of this walk. You don't, just how these evil leaders in Israel are doing the same thing, the same narcissistic behaviors that you see amongst the camps. You don't think that that was going down in the temple of Yahweh? Huh? Look, it was so much corruption going in the temple of Yahweh. Christ came in there and flipped the tables.
Yeah.
Like, why are we acting like that this was just a holy, righteous movement? Right. No, the hell it wasn't.
Right, like you was on the 3rd level of heaven or something.
No, it wasn't.
Nah, that's not the case. You know what I mean? And he ain't just flipped the tables. He ain't just pour out the money, change his money. He also freed the animals.
Yes, he did. Yes,
so
he did.
If you knew what this meant, I would have mercy and not sacrifice. You would not have condemned the guiltless.
That's right,
the
Tillman.
Innocent.
Tillman say, look, he been exposed to KJV. That's what I'm saying. Look, some people see it and some people don't, though. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. And we just here to show y'all that for you can arrive to your own conclusion. We're not trying to persuade y'all anything. We're just here being messengers of Yahweh presenting this truth, whether you get it or not. You know what I'm saying? That's not up to me. I can't force truth down your throat, and I can't make you believe anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So look, let's take our feelings and emotions out of it and let's just deal with the literature and the academia. If we do it that way, this will resonate much more. And then look, stop trying to make things harmonize that are simply out of balance with each other. Stop trying to put things together that's not. How you trying to make Genesis 1 harmonize with Genesis 2? It's 2 total different sceneries. They call God 2 totally different names. The characteristics are totally different. The order of creation is different. It will never line up. It will never line up. So why are you trying to do that? In Genesis 1, male and female was created simultaneously. In Genesis 2, he created Adam first, then he created Eve after he created the animals. In Genesis 1, the animals were created before he created Adam and Eve. In Genesis 2, animals was created after he created Adam. You can't make that. How you gonna do that? How you gonna make that make sense?
Right. What are we arguing about?
What are we arguing about? Just admit it is out of harmony with one another, meaning that there's conflict, and we're being deemed witchcraft and being wicked and preaching a new doctrine. When look, Peter and them been talking about this 2,000 years ago. The contradictions in the very Bible that we reading.
That's right.
Come on, man.
That's right. Corruption of the Torah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's written right there in Peter's journal. You just got to get into the Nazarene Acts of the Apostles. You know what I mean?
And
Or
look,
the Clementine homilies, all that go back to first century. Like it ain't like we making this stuff up.
and you know what blow my mind about this, big bro? This is taught in seminary school.
Yes.
This is taught in college. This is taught to all the theologians. This is taught to all the philosophers that have doctrines and degree with the Torah in biblical reference of literature and education. This is taught on a main well platform. How is it different when this been taught hundreds and hundreds of years before me and you even came across the information?
Thousands. You trip off this, y'all. Trip off this. What you have here is what's called extreme indoctrination. You know what I mean? If this stuff been talked about, if we talking about over close to 1,000 years of research, if that's what we are bringing out, you know what I mean? And then we can go show you, because you don't like to listen to people with melanin. So we going to show you a little bit later, you know what I mean? Somebody that's an actual professor at Yale, you know what I mean? Saying the same exact thing. You know what I mean? So guess what? Yes, Israel's looking bad. We look like a whole bunch of kindergartners out here. You know what I mean? Running around claiming that we got the truth and nothing but the truth. No, you don't.
Facts.
No, you don't. You don't got nothing but the truth.
Facts.
You understand? Because if you did, you could be truthful with yourself and say, you know what? Yeah, look at that. That is different. You know what I mean? A blood will never be a Crip.
Never.
It's just what it is. They're not the same organization. GDs are not vice lords. It's just what it is. They're not the same organization.
Straight up, though.
So stop trying to make them harmonize. It's not the same thing.
And it will never harmonize. It just won't.
That's just what it is, man. So a lot of our brothers are suffering from what's called a religious high. You know what I mean? And look, we understand at one point in time, we were victims of that. Yeah. You know what I mean? But you'll never be able to see the truth for what it is until you be truthful with yourself. And if you trip off this, Messiah said it, if you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. But if you're afraid to speak truth, why do you deserve freedom? Why do you deserve freedom? You Negroes scared to be truthful about where the birds come from.
Yeah.
Then why do you deserve to be free up here?
Yeah, come on, man.
And that's why when you do videos, they so dry and people click off of them, because like you're not feeding nobody nothing.
That's right. Somebody said them priests was everything else but holy. I'm telling you,
exactly.
Once we really start exposing this priesthood, it will blow y'all mind. And look, it's in the Bible, Malachi chapter 2. That look, read them and weep. It ain't like we just making this stuff up, y'all.
Just be real with yourself.
All right, let's get back to it. Now check this out, because it gets deeper, y'all. Now we're gonna read the other parts of the commandments that's totally different from the commandments that we just read in Exodus chapter 34. All right, let's get that Malachi Maccabee, Exodus chapter 20.
Exodus 20, we read in verses 2 through 17. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, Yahweh Eloheka, am a jealous El.
So we got them being jealous in the first command in 34. We got them being jealous in a different command in 20. All right, come on.
Visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me.
Come on.
And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of Yahweh Eloheka in vain, for Yahweh will not hold him innocent or guiltless that taketh his name in vain.
Commandment 4.
Remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy.
So command 4 in Exodus 34 was thou shalt not make no molten gods. See that different? And have we read anything about sacrifice yet?
No,
in Exodus 20. So you have to ask yourself then, why when you go into Exodus 34 we see sacrifices and snapping of lamb's neck, we see strangulations of animals? Who put that there? And the penship is different.
Right. But look, trip off this, the commandments according to what we read in Deuteronomy 9 and 10 were written with the finger of the Most High. Yeah. You know what I mean? So what we got, the Most High being inconsistent here himself?
Come on.
Or do we got the lion pen of scribes and corruptors who evidently have had their hands and their influence on what you call our scriptures?
Come on.
You understand? You want to understand what the true Torah of Moses is, meant, and was taught? You got to come up under the 12 apostles of Yahushua, the Nazarene Messiah.
This is what it is.
You know what I mean? He ordained 12 apostles. That's who you learn from.
Come on.
Because they were taught by him how to properly understand what Moses taught and what Moses meant. The original Torah, the eternal law of the Most High. You understand? It's just what it is. And one of the Messiah's main enemies were the scribes in this day.
Facts.
Period. Why? Why would the scribes be one of his main enemies?
Because they were scribing in vain and writing and twisting laws and writing lies inside of the very manuscript that we got now. That's why.
Right. And look, and that's a brotherhood that went back before the Babylonian captivity. So you dealing with at his time, that's the scribe brotherhood was around for well over 500 years.
Yep.
Well over 500 years.
Mm-hmm. And y'all, and simple, y'all, look, y'all get on here, y'all can disagree, but anybody that's on here being disrespectful, I'm not gonna go back and forth with y'all on both channels. We simply just gonna delete your comment and block you. So if you sitting here and you disagree and you just want to learn to do a rebuttal video, sit down silently and be that way. But if you on here talking anything against us, you will be blocked and removed. All right?
Exactly. We not finna play. Look, the days are over with not controlling the narrative.
Yes.
With y'all, in times past we'll let you just run your mouth. Get all on the comment board. You know what I mean? Anybody getting disrespectful, getting bounced.
That's it.
Everybody.
That's it.
That's what it is. Go smell your own breath over there in that corner over there.
That's it. All right. So we read that out. So just showing y'all the difference. And when you read through these, you would not see any sacrifices, but in the P document, the priestly document, which is the priestly scribes, in Exodus chapter 34, we see that they are integrating the sacrifices in the commandments, just like they integrated sacrifices in the book of Bereshith when it came to Noah. They integrated these sacrifices. Now let's keep it going because it gets deeper and deeper. Mm-hmm. Now, when you get into David numbering Israel, is it the same account or is it a different account? Let's read. This is David numbering Yisrael. Let's read 2 Samuel chapter 24 verse 1.
2 Samuel 24:1. And again the anger of Yahweh was kindled against Israel, and he moved David against them to say, go number Israel and Judah.
So it says Yahweh moved David to go number Israel. Ain't that's what we just read? All right, now look, when you get over to 1 Chronicles chapter 2, chapter 21 and 1, what that say?
And Satan stood up against Israel and provoked David to number Israel.
So which one, y'all? Who provoked David to number Israel? Yahweh or Shaitan? Which one? 2 Samuel 24:1 says it was Yahweh that moved and provoked David to number Israel. Then we get into 1 Chronicles chapter 21 verse 1. It says Shaitan stood up against Israel and provoked David to number Israel. So my question is, which one did the provoking and which one moved to make them do it? Because we got the same account, but we got two different entities moving David to do it. And you're going to have to ask yourself the chronologicals. That's what they call them, right? In the academic. What was their point and purpose of the Chronicles? Their point and purpose was to write the doublets and was to erase any false narrative of Yahweh. So whenever you get into the chronological list, right, if it was portraying Yahweh as being bad or wrong, it'll straight write it out or it'll erase it. It's like, look, y'all ain't finna be looking at Yahweh like he a bad, evil creator. So I'm finna go through and I'm finna wash all of his thing. If it say that he killed the multitude of people, we ain't writing that in there. If it said that he the one who made David number Israel, we ain't writing that. We gonna make it say something different. See that? The problem is all of these books weren't supposed to be put together like this. You see that? That was the issue. That's what made it conflicting. These scrolls was not supposed to be mushed together like this, but they was.
Right. They combined them, you feel me? And then things have been written as if it came to us in sequential order. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why when you get into the book of James, he say not when you attempted that you were tempted by God, because the Most High don't tempt any man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because one thing about being a Nazarene is we understand dealing with the Nazarene acts of the apostles, that right notions of Elohim or God is essential for holiness.
Yeah.
So coming from the Nazarene understanding and perspective as taught by Almighty Messiah, we dare not even believe anything that's written against our Heavenly Father. We dare not believe the Lord moved David to do something against his will.
Against his will.
We don't believe that. You know what I mean? And that shows, look, and that's the type of mindset you have to have when reading through the scriptures, because you're going to also read in the scripture when we got into Jericho and all that the Most High was with us, but then there were certain inhabitants of the land that he couldn't get rid of, that he couldn't subdue. Right. No, the God that we serve and love is all powerful.
Yeah.
What you mean? You know what I mean? So when you're reading, just to let y'all know, Coming from the Nazarene perspective, when you're reading anything in the scripture that limits the power of the Most High, that means he's not omnipresent, omnipotent. You know what I mean? Anything that ascribes wickedness to him, you dare not believe that.
Hey, facts.
You dare not believe that, because right notions of Elohim is essential for holiness and righteousness.
And look, and guess who believe that same thing? The chronologicalists. I can't say their name right, but that's how they got their own Pacific sector group of scribes. And anywhere where it made Yahweh seem like that, guess what they did? They just took it out. They like, look, we ain't even finna have Yahweh being portrayed as a wicked, you know what I'm saying, God, as a God that just out here killing children, and a God that's out here, he got grizzly bears eating up children, a God that got a 40, 60-year-old man sleeping with a 13-year-old. It's like, look, we ain't even finna portray that. Right. You know what I'm saying? So they went through the text and they cleaned up the text. That's where your chronicles come from. It's a cleaning of the text, y'all. And if you don't see that, then that's on you. But we see it right here. We see in 2 Samuel chapter 24 verse 1, it says Yahweh was kindled against Israel and moved Dawid against them and had him go number Israel and Judah. And then in 1 Chronicles chapter 21, they took out Yahweh and they said, no, that was Shaitan that stood up against Israel and provoked Dawid to number Israel.
And you know the breakdown, because we know the breakdowns. We come about indoctrination. You know the breakdown is the book of Job. You know what I mean? Well, Satan can't do nothing unless the Most High give it to him. So essence, when they say the Lord moved against him, it really was Satan, because Satan got to go get permission from the Lord to even do anything he want to do in your life. Look, we know the breakdowns and understanding. We come out of that indoctrination.
Facts.
What you're not seeing is these are two different scribes writing from their perspective about the same event.
Exactly.
That's what's happening.
Exactly. So look, let's keep it moving. So I want to read this first real fast in the red notes I put. It says, we can't even eat right now. It says in 2 Samuel 24:1, Yahweh moved David to number Israel. But in 1 Chronicles 21 verse 1, Shaitan moved David to number Israel. These two versions of the story are in conflict with one another. All right. Now check this out. Let's keep it going. I'm gonna use that for my D document. Now, who came up with this hypothesis, or the first one who publicized this hypothesis synopsis, or what we're gonna call the document sources? His name is Julius Wellhousing. Y'all make sure y'all look him up. Julius Wellhousing or Heinzing. Y'all look him up. Now we're going to read a little bit about this, because these come from scholars. It's been nothing but scholars for 800 years bringing out this truth. It's been nothing but scholars for 800 years bringing out this fact that the Bible is most definitely conflictions in there. It's misconceptions in there. It's tampered with. I mean, look, we not the only ones that's saying this. It is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of scholars that went to school. They whole job, they get paid to do this. This is their whole profession, to do this. And one of them was Julius Wellhousing. So I just want to read a little bit about him real quick. So this is called the documentary hypothesis. Could you read that for us, brother?
Documentary hypothesis, JEDP.
So J stands for is Y. In German, they call their Y's J. So J stands for Yahweh or Yahwistic. It's a Y. So YEPD. So J, Yahweh, E, Elohist or Elohim scribe, D, Deuteronomist scribe, and then P, which is your Kohen, which is your priest. The main point of this presentation, in anyways, is to focus on the P document, because these are the scribes of the priests. This is what the priest told the scribes to write, and it's gonna blow y'all mind once we blow the lid up off this deal, y'all. So sit back and just stay here and rock with us, y'all, and everything will unfold, and it will lead up to our lessons, which is called the origin of sacrifices, showing that these things came from wicked deities. All right, y'all want to yell out the word witchcraft and don't know what y'all talking about. We gonna show y'all some witchcraft. We gonna read it to y'all. All right, let's get it.
This right here is JEDP theory, Julius Wellhousing. Jahwist or Yahwist from Yahweh describes God as Yahweh, starting in Genesis 2 and 4. It includes much of Genesis and parts of Exodus and Numbers. It is dated around 850 BC.
See that? Dated around 850 BC. Now let's get into the E document, or the Elohist or the Elohim scribes.
Elohist from Elohim primarily describes God as El or Elohim, starting with Genesis 15. It covers material similar to the Y. It is dated around 750 BC. J and E are said to be difficult to distinguish.
And the reason why is because they integrated them so good, and they say that the writers they say that the scribes become seamless. That's what they say. When, like, for instance, Luke penmanship was so cold, when they merged all of them together, you can't even tell the difference unless you very, very studied up, which we done picked out some different accounts in it. But it's just so seamless. It just looked like the story matches from T to T. But if you slow down and you look at everything, you be like, oh, these are different scribes. All right, let's get to the Deuteronomy document.
Deuteronomy or D document, a different source or author is associated with Deuteronomy alone, and is usually dated around 621 BC.
Now, this is what I want to pay close attention to, y'all. This P document, these priests. This is the whole point of this presentation, y'all.
Right.
All the rest of this information is good for us because it shows you the difference and the conflict. But what we trying to show y'all and prove to y'all is the reason of the conflict, and it's because the priests. Now let's read about the priests.
The priestly or the P document. This encompasses writings scattered.
Come on.
From Genesis 1.
Oh, from Genesis what?
1.
Oh, come on.
Through the notice of Moses' death at the end of Deuteronomy.
Ooh-wee.
It is supposedly dated
Look at the date, y'all.
around 500 BC. Y'all, that's when we was in captivity in Babylon.
baby. Hold on, look. It gets deeper. It gets deeper. Look, it's finna come out now. Hold on. Now it's finna come out. Now check this out. Look, what's name wasn't the only person talking about this? What's his? Let's go back to his name again real fast.
Wellhausen.
Look, Julius Wellhausen wasn't the only person talking about this. We got more people talking about this. What's his name, brother?
Man, I ain't good with that French, brother.
Johann
Inkhorn.
All right, now let's read up about him.
In 1780, Johann Inkhorn, building on the work of the French doctor and exegete Jean Astruc's conjectures and others.
So now look, we got 3 people that's been speaking about this same thing. Hundreds and hundreds of years. It's been an 800-year investigation. We just named 3 people. We got the Wellhausen, we got Eckhorn, and we got Hexers. These are all Greek, and we don't speak that. All right, come on, brother. I don't know.
Yeah, conjectures and others formulated the older documentary hypothesis.
So look, notice it says a older documentary hypothesis, because look, it's Arabians and everybody else. It's other scholars who have the works talking about the same thing that we talking about now, y'all. This was a whole movement. Once they realized all the lies and stuff, they're like, hold on, man. These priests were at work here. They've been trying to undo this and get all the different sources for over 800 years. So this is nothing new. Look, Peter was teaching this. Peter was teaching this and teaching how to defend it. Teaching like, look, just teach the life up out of it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because, hey, look, we don't teach the death up out of it anyway. We know that was written in by the priest. Come on.
It says, formulated the older documentary hypothesis, the idea that Genesis was composed by combining 2 identifiable sources.
Fact.
The Jehovists or the Yahwists, also called the Yahweh, and the Elohist, E. So the J document and the E document.
All right, let's read right here real fast.
Johann Gottfried Eichhorn. All right. October 16, 1752. In Dorizanamine, 27 June, 1827. Was a German Protestant theologian of the Enlightenment and an early Orientalist. He was a member of the Göttingen School of History.
So we dealing with all types of scholars. Now the only reason why I chose all of white man, because it seemed like that y'all don't listen until somebody white said. We could have showed Africans saying the same things. We could have showed Dominicans saying the same thing. We could have showed Egyptians saying the same thing.
Right.
Even Arabians. I got it all. Yeah. But I wanted, because it seemed like, when y'all hear it coming from the so-called white devil that y'all say, then y'all believe it. So that's why we picked all of these. Now check this out, y'all. It gets deeper. It gets deeper, y'all. And what y'all gonna see is dates change a little bit, but it's usually inside the same thing. Now it says the documentary hypothesis. All right, the Yahwistic doctrine, it say 900 BCE Yahweh. The E document, Elohist, 850 BCE Elohim. The priestly source, 600 BCE. Now I want to focus on the priestly source, because if you look, it's in blue. He been dealing with this Bible since when? The beginning. All the way until who? Deuteronomy. And the reason why we ain't gonna even talk about Deuteronomy because that's his own lesson on his own. Me and Mally gonna do our own specific lesson on the Deuteronomists. All right. Now check this out. He been in the scriptures the whole way. So wherever you see sacrifice, that is a peace source document.
Yeah, that's a priestly so-called edition.
Facts.
That's where it is.
And we gonna prove it.
And look, that goes back to the beginning in Genesis. So that's the answer to all your questions. Why you see Noah sacrificing.
Exactly.
Why you see Abraham sacrificing. Why you see Abraham about to kill Isaac and then, a ram was provided. You know what I mean? Why Abraham killed that flesh over there and then feed it to the angels. But the whole time we know angels' food is what?
Yeah, it's manna. Manna.
You know what I mean? So yes.
Genesis 18, he ate with Abraham. How if we know that the angelical food diet is manna?
Exactly.
Manna, I mean,
how is it? It's manna. So why would angels show up and eat dead flesh?
Yeah, and I ain't never seen no I ain't never seen no cow and no beef and no lamb fall from the sky. But guess what I see falling from higher up? I see apples falling from trees. I see oranges ripening and falling from trees. I ain't never seen no whole damn lamb fall from the heavens. Ever.
Y'all see that if y'all look in the blue, the blue is all the way back in Genesis.
All the way black,
you know what I mean?
Back.
So
right here.
Whenever you see anything about priestly duties getting handled in Genesis, you understand that the priest has something to do with it.
And check this out. And you have somebody called redactors, and these are scribes amongst scribes, right? And what they'll do is they'll go and look at what the scribe just scribed, and that's in black. And if they didn't like it, they'll totally just change it up. The redactors didn't give a hoot about nothing. They'll go and change the whole scene. Ages start not making sense. You will have somebody, who was that? I ain't gonna quote the name. I ain't gonna even quote it because I can't bring it back and pull it up. But you will see even ages change. You be like, hold on, he was just 4 years old, now he's 40? Just like the same thing with the stars. You're like, hold on, it was just 4,000, now it's 40,000?
Right.
And that's the redactors. The redactors with no joke.
Right.
They ain't care what you thought about it. You know what I'm saying? So all right, let's keep it pushing. Now, I want y'all to listen to something because now what we finna get into is the P document. This is Christine Hayes, and she is a theologian. She went to seminary school. She teach at Yale University, y'all. I mean, like when it comes to breaking down biblical texts, she's very, very studied up, and it's her and it's a bunch of other people. But I want to focus in on particular things that she said, all right? Y'all can look her up and watch all her things for yourself, but I want to listen to particular things she said. Check this out.
Glory. But what it refers to actually is a light-filled cloud. God seems to be the burning fire inside this light-filled cloud. He travels before the Israelites in that form, leading them through the wilderness and so on. That seems to be in the P source.
Hold on. What source it say it was from?
The P source.
The P source. Y'all can't hear this? Oh man. Dang, that's okay. Look, go out there with him and y'all can listen to it from there. Hold on, y'all. The bros gotta listen to this. The Nazarites gotta listen to this. All right, I'm gonna start it over for y'all can hear it. Check this out, y'all.
Glory. But what it refers to actually is a light-filled cloud. God seems to be the burning fire inside this light-filled cloud. He travels before the Israelites in that form, leading them through the wilderness and so on. That seems to be in the P source. P is also interested in covenants, in censuses, in genealogies, all of those sections very often that link stories.
Now, why did it have to be interested in genealogies? Because they had to prove the bloodline of who, y'all? Aharon. They had to prove the bloodline because that's where all of the wealth went through, and Aharon's sons is the only ones that could be high priests. So they was very interested in the genealogies, proving the bloodline. They was very interested in law, order. Whenever you see the peace source, they always trying to gather Israel, give Israel a government body. Look, the priests were the government. Their whole thing was to establish a one world order amongst Israel, and they be actually over the whole Israelites, and all the benefits went back to them. So we always be like, well, Book of Malachi is talking about the preachers in the church today. I mean, look, we can expand that to that, right? But no, it was talking about these priests when it was talking about how they was using us wolves and sheep clothing and all of that. That was talking about the Kohanes. That was talking about Aaron and his sons, y'all. Flat out. Look, check this out. We're gonna start over one more time, and I'm not gonna interrupt it until we get to that law part.
But what it refers to actually is a light-filled cloud. God seems to be the burning fire inside this light-filled cloud. He travels before the Israelites in that form, leading them through the wilderness and so on. That seems to be in the P source. P is also interested in covenants, in censuses, in genealogies. All of those sections, very often that link stories, are attributed to the P source. And because P elements often serve that kind of function as a bridge between stories, or very often P sources seem to introduce a story or conclude a story, the source critics felt that priestly writers were probably responsible for the final editing of the Bible.
Y'all hear that? So priestly writers were what?
They were responsible for the final editing of the Bible.
Now remember, this was called the documentary hypothesis. Now this is no longer called that. This is facts. But all the evidence that they've been gathering for the last 800 years, y'all, this is what's concluded, that the priests were the last people to edit the Bible, y'all.
The Bible has been edited, tampered with.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The lion scribes have had their influence and their hand in it.
Yes,
That's just the truth.
That's just the truth, y'all. Now check this out, because she goes deeper.
Together, J and E, and
hold on, let me start that right there. Hold on.
Final editing of the Bible, bringing together J and E and D and adding their materials and finally editing the work.
You heard that? Did y'all hear what she just said? She said she waited till all the priests, the Kohanes waited till all the documents was put together and was like, when y'all done, bring me that, and then we gonna edit it. We gonna look over everything. Anything we don't like, we gonna redact. Redactors, remember? We gonna redact. We gonna put in our different editors in there. In Genesis, we're gonna make sure we make everything look good. Now, this explains in Genesis chapter 7 the reason why it's different than Genesis chapter 2 when he commanded and gave Noah instructions on the animals. They said, well, damn, how can we put sacrificial law in there when we said 2 of every animal? That means all the animals will be sacrificed. So let's put 7 in there. That way it still be animals left after the sacrifice.
Right, and then trip off this. If it's the clean, so the clean animals, what the clean animals for? But must be for the sacrifices and for the eating. You know what I mean? But if you look down the line, if there's an agenda about putting clean animals into the scripture, you know what I mean, who does that benefit? That benefits the priest, who you about to be bringing these quote unquote clean flesh to. You know what I mean? Because they're receiving all these sacrifices for free and they're selling them.
They selling them. And they marking them up 200% and then charge usury. Put the tax. Why you think the tax collector was where? At the temple.
That's right.
Man, look, this was an agenda. Look, what Christ uncovered was a $1.5 billion a year industry being operated out of a slaughterhouse that you call a temple, and that's the reason why Messiah came and destroyed that sucker.
Yeah,
straight up.
It's coming down.
It's coming down.
Y'all bragging about it, won't be a stone left.
Yeah. Hold on, it gets deeper, y'all. Check this out.
Dated the priestly source to the period, the exilic period.
Hold on. Hey, look, did y'all listening to this? Hold on, here it go.
It's a delay. Y'all delay. Okay.
Oh, my bad.
Well, the priestly source, the P document, is attributed to the exilic period.
Hey, look, and I got over 6 people. Recorded saying the same thing she's saying.
Exilic mean, y'all, when we was exiled from our land and in captivity in Babylon. She just said what we said earlier, that the P document, the priest source, who are in charge of the final editings of your Bible. It's traced back to when we were in exile in Babylon. So anybody out there talking some Malachi and y'all keep making this up is out off their rocker. You know what I mean? Look, they saying it up in Yale. They saying, I'm talking about those that have PhDs in biblical studies are saying this. Now check this out. It gets deeper. To
the period, the exilic period. To the period after the fall of the Southern Kingdom in 586, when the Babylonians have taken many of the Judeans into exile in Babylon. So P, J, and the narrative parts of P, J, and E are continuous parallel accounts of the history of the world, if you will, from creation until the death of Moses. Source critics believe that they have a uniform style, a uniform vocabulary, a uniform set of themes, and a chronological framework. So according to Wellhausen, and I've sort of schematized it chronologically for you up here, the priestly school drew together all of this older material.
Hold on. Do y'all hear that? The priestly source drew together all the older material, and they finna combine the books and they finna redact it, put all they ending editing additions on it before we get it. Boy, look, they whole point and purpose was to centralize the temple, y'all. Straight up.
Some of its own editorial material, bridges, introductions, conclusions, inserted the large priestly documents of Leviticus and Numbers.
Y'all hear that? Hold on. Inserted the
law, the Leviticus and Numbers.
Here it go. Here it go right here. Look, and she's not the only one saying this. All theologians and all scholars are saying this. And when you go to seminary school, guess what? You get taught this. You get taught this. So all these pastors, all these pastors know this. All these chaplains, they know this information. The thing is, why are they not teaching this to us? Huh?
Added some of its own editorial material, bridges, introductions, conclusions, inserted the large priestly documents of Leviticus and Numbers. And so the Torah, and they did this sitting in exile in Babylon. And so the Torah is really the result of 5.
Hey, here you go right here. And they did this sitting in exile in Babylon.
God, bro.
There it go.
Man, look. And look, I knew this just by doing light research.
Me too.
There's lights. They're actually saying this.
Ooh-wee. 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 And look, y'all, it gets deeper. It gets deeper. We ain't even heard nothing yet.
Centuries of religious and literary activity.
Just a little bit.
And this, of course, is a very, and they did for you up here. The priestly school drew together all of this older material, added some of its own editorial material, bridges, introductions, conclusions, inserted the large priestly documents of Leviticus and Numbers. And so the Torah, and they did this sitting in exile in Babylon. And so the Torah is really the result of 5 centuries of religious and literary activity. And this, of course, is a very, very different portrait from traditional claims about the authorship of the Pentateuch by one man, Moses, in approximately the 14th century.
Boy, and look, it gets.
Hear her say the Torah that you have today is 500 years of literary work, meaning coming out of Babylon all the way up until when the Messiah was on the scene is roughly 500 years. So the Torah that everybody was at, why you think they was at odds the whole time? Because he understood.
The whole time.
You know what I mean? No, that's not the original teachings of Moses. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's the work, that's the lion pen of the scribes. Mm-hmm. You understand? And again, y'all, we gonna say it like we've been saying. If you want to understand the original teachings of Moses, you gotta come up under the disciples, the 12 apostles that the Messiah taught himself. You understand? Yes, and their writings are out here. True about this. Once you understand that, then you will understand why do Paul got 80% of the New Testament?
Why? And
Paul was never a direct apostle. He wasn't even ordained by the Messiah as an apostle.
He wasn't.
You know what I mean?
Ooh-wee.
And why was Paul at odds with James, who was the leader of the Messiah's teachings,
Ooh-wee.
his little brother? Peter was number 2 after the Messiah died. Paul right in Galatians saying certain men sent from James.
Certain men sent from James. Remember, Paul got mad at Peter because Peter got caught when James sent them certain men. Peter got caught sitting and eating with the Gentiles. And soon as James' man came in, Peter got up, Barnabas got up, and the rest that was with them got up and separated themselves from the Gentile. Paul and Peter end up getting into it. He said it to his face. Mm-hmm. They end up getting into it, and guess what he told him? He said, how are you trying to teach them to be Israel, but you are acting like Gentiles? He said, look, he called him a walking controversy.
Yep, and when you get into the
he called him he basically you a hypocrite.
Yeah, when you get into the Clementine homilies or the Nazarene Acts, it straight tell you that, you know what I mean, you ain't even supposed to be eating with nobody unless they fully initiated.
Facts.
So they wasn't initiated. That's why when James them showed up, he got up from
Peter
the table.
got up. Then Barnabas looked and got up with him.
You know what I mean? That makes sense, don't it? Yeah, then our 12 tribes, Shimshon, yeah, we got the history on Moses and Aaron. Because a lot of y'all don't know that. There was conflict with Moses and Aaron.
There was nothing but conflict with them.
Conflict with Moses and Aaron. When we get into the sacrifices, we got a video coming out about the origin of the sacrifices.
And that's what we're going to bring all of that out.
We're going to bring that. Look, yes, there are records out there about Aaron.
And we got it.
And we have them. And I'm just going to leave you with this. Did Aaron ever repent? Did he ever repent for setting up the golden calf and offering sacrifices while Moses was communing with the Almighty?
Ooh-wee.
That's a question everybody should look into. Do you some homework, see if he ever repented. And always remember, repent means to turn away from.
Straight up, to
Did he
turn back.
turn away from setting up false gods and sacrificing like what he did in the wilderness? It's gonna leave you with that. But yeah, there are records about all that.
Oh,
You know what I mean? And remember, Aaron was supposedly Moses' mouthpiece.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So Moses would tell Aaron something. So now it's up to Aaron to go say, hey, God say this. You know what I mean? But if there's an agenda there, then everything that come out of his mouth, you know what I mean, may not be valid. May not be solid. But yeah, we got the records on there. There was conflict with Moses and Aaron as well.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And I know this deep stuff, and I know this hurt, but look, hey, truth is truth. We gotta elevate. And look, even her, she had some discrepancies with Julius Wellheiser. She said that Julius Wellheiser's position and belief of the priest was harsh and heinous, and that's the reason why he said certain things he said. But the thing is, with Christine Haynes and her biased views on Wellheisers, is everybody else said the same thing. Everybody else, the same thing she just repeated. Everybody else is saying the exact same thing.
Right. So I see a lot of people, like, you know, the woman information number one enemy. Look, you know what I mean? When you say, "Are we to take her word?" No, there is no French here. What do you mean we?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it don't resonate with you, I don't receive it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ain't no we here. You know what I mean? Nobody can force you to believe anything.
Yeah.
That's what we got to get out of. We got to get back to listening to the voice of the Most High. The Most High has been talking to every last one of us before we can remember.
Yeah.
Get back to listening to him, because he communes with you right here. There is no what are we teaching now. So are we teaching this? There is no we. There is no we. You understand? Either what's coming out resonates with you and you're like, yeah, that makes sense. I always wondered that. Or it don't. And you got the right to move on.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And again, y'all, look, go listen to all of her things. Just type her in, Crystal Haynes, Yale University. She didn't agree with everything that Al Wellheiser even said, y'all. Mm-hmm. Go listen to the whole thing. She thought that he was very biased and racist when it came to the Jews. You know what I'm saying? But the thing you want to ask them, why are there just do y'all research on everything we talking about? Everybody else saying the exact same thing. You see what I'm saying? Y'all got to do y'all own research on that. I'm just bringing out the point that's valid. You know what I'm saying?
Proving everything that we've been saying, you know what I mean? The origins of the sacrifices.
But
we're gonna move over. Now here go another map that shows y'all the same thing. Y'all can watch these same dates. Remember the Elohim doctrine, 550 BCE. It all started from the Yahweh doctrine, and we went back and showed you how the priests had what she just said. The priests had their hands in it, even in the book of Genesis, all the way out. They waited till they was done redacting everything. Then the priests came and got it, and they put their additions on it before they let it out, y'all. So that's why you see all these sacrificial laws from Genesis all the way up before you ever even get a Levitical priesthood in a temple to do sacrifices in.
Hey, look, now if you can be real with yourself, that makes sense.
It makes more sense than anything.
And look, she even saying, look, based off for the card, based off what we're reading in like Genesis 1, Genesis 2, even the accounts of creation, you know what I mean, they are not the same. So for us to believe that Moses wrote the Torah, you know what I mean, then okay, why are the birds coming out of the water in Genesis 1 and 20 and the land in Genesis 2 and 19? You know what I mean? Either he screwed out his mind, or these are two different scribes writing about the same event from their perspective. That's what we bringing out. You know what I mean? And look, before she even said that, and before we even got that, we arrived at that conclusion.
Yeah, we been had that before we even got all that information. You know what I'm saying? And somebody sent that information to me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because look, we ain't the only brothers that believe this. It's a bunch of Nazarite brothers that believe the same thing. Remember, even back then, you had different sects of Nazarites, of Pharisees, Sadducees, of scribes. You had different people that believed in different things. There is no difference in today. Yeah. All right, there's no difference in today. How do y'all think the Messiah got killed in the first place? His political, his revolutionary views on the Torah and the sacrifices and everything else, y'all.
Exactly. Hey, Carl, keep it respectful. You know what I mean? If you don't agree, just keep it moving. All right? It's that simple. You know what I mean? Just keep it respectful, though. And again, all this is about what we're saying as of late on this channel. Put down the flesh, the liquor, and smoking. That's the origin of everything. Look, the bomb that dropped in Israel is based off us telling you stop killing yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Y'all the ones that thought we would just, oh, wait, you can't prove that. All right, well, we're going to show you how deep this research goes.
And we've been proving.
All right, that's what I'm saying. You called down the thunder. Yeah. All right, now you got it. Now it's, oh, well, you can't believe all that. All right, well, you know what I mean? Well, y'all shouldn't have called for it then. You dig? We out here saying, live, man. Stop putting things in your mouth that's actually killing you. And look, this is a healing ministry over here. I can't say the same about everybody else's ministry, but honor and humility is a healing ministry, whether it's spiritual healing through prayers or holistic through the herbs. Yeah. You know what I mean? This is a healing ministry. So if any ministry know that the nation of Israel is sick, it's us. We know. We got the reports. You understand? We know who's sick and what's causing the sickness. It's the flesh.
Facts.
It's the strong drink. Things that you say you can do because it's in your hatawara.
Come on.
Or your Torah.
Come on.
And we telling you, no, put it down and live. But y'all saying, oh, well, y'all can't prove it, so y'all called the thunder down, now you got it. You know what I mean? Now we're proving, even through academia, you understand, that, yeah, you ain't even supposed to be doing that. You dig? What you hanging on to is a literary work from us being in exile all the way up until the time of the Messiah, attributed to Moses. But how was it Moses when the law was burnt when we was in Babylon? 2 Ezra 14 and 21.
Ooh-wee.
You know what I mean? Then Ezra spoke, and the scribes there wrote 204 books, but you only got 5 books in your Torah, 80 books in your whole Bible if you include the Apocrypha. So you ain't even got the Torah or the inspired writings that Ezra wrote down in Babylon. So what is this you have then?
Ooh-wee.
And obviously the Messiah knew, because one of his main enemies were who? The scribes.
And the Pharisees.
The scribes and Pharisees in his day. You understand? Messiah came to restore the true teachings that Moses taught that had been corrupted through the lying pen of the scribes, as prophesied by Jeremiah in Jeremiah 8 and 8. Bag drop.
Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. Let's read this real quick and let's keep it going.
Ancient editors and redactors.
Ancient editors and redactors. It's been going on with the biblical text since when the scrolls was first even written, y'all. Come on.
Ancient editors and redactors. As each copy of a text had to be written manually by a scribe.
At what? Hold on, let's say that again.
Hold on. As each copy of a text had to be written manually by a scribe.
Y'all see that? Y'all think that a book just was came? No, these were many different scribes that were written, edited, then bind it together. Then after they bind them together, you have redactors and editor to go edit that. And look, you know how many times this done been put together and redacted and edited? Come on.
As each copy of a text had to be written manually by a scribe, it was common for ancient editors to combine and edit earlier texts into new text.
Come on.
In the New Testament, the authors of both Matthew and Luke absorbed the texts of Mark and Q into their Gospels.
You hear me, that book right there?
Right.
So everybody don't even know about the Q document. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Y'all ain't even got all the information while y'all shooting duds. Y'all don't even know about the Q document. There's a whole Q document out here, y'all. Whole Q document out here that only they found fragments of it. This all in this book, Rethinking the Gospel Sources, Volume 2, The Unity and the Plurality of Q by Delbert Berklet. Look this stuff up. It's so many books out here and so much information on this, y'all. That's what I'm saying. Before y'all want to come up against us and try to assassinate our characters, which won't work with us because we can give less than a damn what you think about us. You can talk about me all day. I like it. It's promotion to me.
Yeah,
but so before y'all start doing that and wasting all of y'all time and energy on emotions and character assassination, spend all of that on the academia. Spend all of that on the literature. Spend all that on the scholarship, y'all. And look, y'all will see that we ain't just arrived to this point. This been around for 4,000 years.
That's right. That's right. Derek Rice, we gonna after the presentation is over, you know what I mean, we gonna email this out. So hopefully Nehemiah's in the chat right now. He has hopefully he has your email. You know what I mean? And let's go ahead and get it. His email information is actually in the description box of this video.
Y'all delete naysayers so fast. That's right, Buddha. Hey, we ain't playing around. You get on here in opposition, you getting booted.
Yeah.
Hey,
bounce.
look, we ain't arguing with nobody. We done with them arguing. We done with that debate arguing stage. We know what we talking about is the truth. So if you don't believe it, go sit in your corner and be quiet. Or, hey, get from up off our channels. We ain't asking nobody to be here.
That's right. In the New Testament, the authors of both Matthew and Luke absorbed the text of Mark and Q into their Gospels. 2 Peter... Trip off this. 2 Peter is an expansion of Jude. We would not know this if Jude were lost.
Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Now look, Yahweh give his names. Each source goes by their name for him. Now we finna start showing, because remember, for a point he was called El Shaddai. So this is just showing you priestly documents and showing why you have him in the E document being looked at like you couldn't get to him. The reason why the priest set it up like that is for, you know, they when they set up the priesthood, they was trying to say the only way you can get to Yahweh is through the priest. So they had to make it seem like that he was untouchable, that he was cosmic, and that he was totally different from the Yahwistic way, where he came down, he breathed into him, and he shaped them from the ground, like it wasn't so personal. That way, for you to feel like, in order for you to get in connection with God, you had to go through who? The priest. It was a setup, y'all. How are y'all not seeing this? And they did that by certain different names being called, certain different characteristics of how we view who Yahweh is, and other things like that. So let's just read through this, and we're going to keep it pushing. Let's read through this. The P doc.
All right, this is the P doc or the priest doc. Exodus 6:2. And Elohim spake unto Moses and said unto him, I am Yahweh. Verse 3. And I appeared unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob by the name of El Shaddai, God Almighty. But my name, Yahweh or Jehovah, was I not known to them.
So now we got by the priestly document, they like, look, the whole time, you know, he was called El. He was called El Gabor. He was called the mighty God. But to you, Moshe, to you, Aaron, I'm going to reveal my real name. You see that? So now we got, okay, now it's getting personal. A personal relationship was built with the priesthood and God, and this is how they introduced it to Israel. And that's why you got them at the bottom of the mount like, nah, you go up there and holler at them. You know what I'm saying? We ain't hollering. Showing you how it's set up to be, where it'd be a close and personal encounter when it came to Moses, Aaron, and God, and not with Israel. And they always needed somebody to be there to speak on their behalf. That way, when Aaron set up anything and say anything, hey, look, if you want to come be forgiven for your sins, guess what? You couldn't do that in your house. You couldn't build your own altar no more. Remember, King Josiah had put out an order. Y'all better go knock all them altars down. We're going to be doing all this centralized in the temple. So guess what happened? Whenever you commit a sin, instead of praying to Yahweh yourself and asking him to forgive you for that sin, you had to go to the temple. You had to get a bullock or get a turtle dove, and the priest had to do that sacrifice for who? For you. So this showing you how they started centralizing the monarchy, y'all. If you don't see it, then I guess you're blind, y'all. So we see certain names started getting changed. We see certain personal relationships started being built, and you see the whole agenda of what the priest was trying to put in. So they had to make Yahweh seem like that I couldn't just get on my knees right now and pray to Yahweh. In order for me to do that, I got to go to the temple. Right. If I just commit a sin, instead of going into my prayer closet and saying, Yahweh, I never do that again, and I turn back. No, I had to go buy me a sheep goat and take it to the temple. In order for me to even hear the scrolls, instead of Yahweh talking to me like he talked to Abraham and like he talked to Enoch or Canuk and them, I had to go to the temple and had them break down the scrolls to me. If I needed any type of healing, instead of calling on Yahweh, Rafaka, which is Yahweh of healing, instead of calling it down and healing myself, I had to go to the temple to holler at the priest. Look, this is what they did. Everything that we can do by ourselves in communion with Yahweh and his first begotten son, they took it and centralized it, and then they made monetary profit and gain for it. And that's the reason why you see the redactors and the editing into the scriptures to make it seem like that they were the judges, they were the Kohen, they were the high priest, when the true high priest is after Judah. Let's keep it real. You know what I'm saying? And you see all these different editings and changes because they had to set up the central banking, worshiping, sacrificing system in what you'll call the temple. That's why anybody that ever threatened that temple got killed. Anybody that ever threatened that temple, it was a political assassination that was called down and mandated on them, because they was messing with the very thriving structure that kept the capitalism going on in Israel and throughout our generations.
Hey, make it make sense, huh?
That make more sense than
make it make all the sense.
It make all the sense in the world. What you had to say, Yashua?
It's just like the pharmaceutical companies and how they you can heal your own body, but you gotta come to them in order so they can get the gain, the money from it. Yeah, look, our young Nazarite, he just said it's just like the pharmaceutical companies. You can heal yourself with the herbs and look, and going back to the dietary law in the beginning, Genesis 1:29. But look, you can't even do it without them. They'll kill you, they'll lock you up. You see how they shut me down, holding hundreds of thousands of my dollars, trying to take me to court and everything else. So look, it's like the same thing. No, we finna centralize this, and we're gonna put all type of laws out there. If you say cure, we coming to lock your ass up. Straight up. You say cure, we
coming to get you. You say this, we coming to get you. Right. Same thing that they did to the Messiah, because the Messiah was healing, right?
Absolutely.
So look, that took away the temple. You ain't coming to the temple to get hands laid on you no more or get prayed over. That most definitely took out the sacrificial law. I don't got to sacrifice for my sin. All I got to do is quit sinning.
Right.
Oh man, that just changed the game.
Right. Look, repent and show true amendment.
You see that?
Repent and show true amendment. You know what I mean?
The same way that they killed Dr. Sabi is the same way that they killed Messiah. Once you go against the structure, this political structure, this tyranny structure, this tyrant that's being built up, they kill you. And that's the same thing. Let's not think that the temple was something totally different. I can't even call it the temple of Yahweh no more, because like it was not just a butcher house, all blood and dead flesh up. And imagine the smell inside of there. Imagine the smell. And how can we call it? And that's the reason why Christ came and tore it down. He like, how is y'all calling this the temple of Yahweh? Y'all making this house out of house of merchandise. This ain't even my father's house no more. And that's why you read in the book of Acts and certain other books, it says that Yahweh does not dwell in temples made with man hands. What did he mean by that?
Exactly.
It says the heavens of heaven can't even hold him. How much more a little house built with bricks from a hands of a man? We trying to centralize Yahweh. And the only reason why you trying to centralize Yahweh, saying you the only one that got Yahweh and got the truth, is for monetary gain. You bootlicking Negroes that's over these camps is doing the same thing right now. The truth is only with this camp. The truth is only with that camp. The truth is here. The truth is only in the temple. Only way you can be forgiven for your sins if you come sacrifice in the temple. Only way for you to be healed if you come to the priest in the temple. Only way you can read about God and we unroll the scrolls of Isaiah, Yeshaya. You come to the temple. If you want to get your meat, come to the temple. You want to hear about Israel, come to the temple.
Yeah, come to your so-called unity camps.
Yeah, conflict, you know man. Yeah. Nothing but conflict after conflict after conflict.
Hey,
look
now, but then look, now it makes sense why all y'all mad at us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What ancient spirits have been reactivated or resurrected in this earth? It make all the sense in the world now. So you used to think being persecuted for his namesake was wearing your garments with your fringes and saying you was an Israelite. No.
Yes, way deeper than that.
No. We done found out what the original faith of the Messiah was and what he taught, and we bring that out hard body, and everybody acting like, boy, we just tore the covers off your personal demons. Everybody gets mad. Everybody gets shook up. I'm talking about Negroes got hatred all in their mouth. You know what I mean? If they could, they'd probably try to kill us.
Yeah, fact.
You know what I mean? Based off us telling you to put down what's killing you and live. And your only argument is, well, we used to do this in the temple, and we used to sacrifice this, and we used to do that. Yeah, that would be your only argument, you know what I mean? But today, guess what? Everything that you eating and throwing down your throat concerning flesh, you doing that for sport. That's sport. And these slaughterhouses ain't nothing but temples of Baal.
Facts.
Temples of Satan.
Same temple.
That's where you're getting your flesh from.
Yep, and you learn these from fallen angels, fallen messengers, or different entities from different planetary systems that came down to Samaria, who became the Anunnaki, that went down to Sumerian Canaic form tablets, that moved over into the Epic of Gilgamesh, then that touched down in Egypt, or what we're going to call Mizraim, taught to us by being in slavery over there to the Egyptians. Then we went up out of there and came into Canaan, and these same things was taught. Look, we learned this, the original origin touched down in Iraq or Iraq and ancient Mesopotamia and then all the way until today. We can track this down, y'all, through the Sumerian tablets to the Epic of Gilgamesh to the Canaanite religions, all the way to now, y'all. Look, we got the documents, we got the sources. Canaanite religion, we got them, we got all of it. We got all of it, y'all, and we can see, man, the feast days are a mirror image. Your feast day sacrifices are a mirror image of serving other gods, y'all. And are we saying that the feast days are wrong? No, we not. Are we saying your sacrifices is wrong and it's devilish and that's the true dark demonic witchcraft that everybody don't want to speak of? Yes, we is. That's what we saying. And look, I don't gotta hold my tongue no more. I'm free. That's what we saying.
That's exactly what it is.
That's exactly what we saying.
And the proof of it is, as soon as we tell you stop eating it, all you little Negroes' panties is in a bunch.
Yeah.
Everybody, man, look what you mad for.
Yeah.
We just telling you to live, brother. Don't put that poison down your throat. Live. You know what I mean? I want to see you live and guess what? Live and see your great grandchildren.
Hey, truly chosen 619. That's what we doing. That's our next lesson. We talking about the origin of sacrifices and the origin of the fallen ones and how they introduced this to us and how wicked and demonic it actually is and how it got right now we just showing y'all how it got integrated in our Bible in the first place.
Exactly.
That's what we showing.
The P document, man, that was powerful.
Yeah.
The priestly documents was the last documents, you understand, to be added and edited into your scripture, redacted and everything during the time we were in exile. And we came up with this understanding before we even seen that video.
Only reason how I got the information, it was sent to me by somebody else. Hey, like, look, man, you might want to watch this. I watched that. I'm like, oh, man. And look, I watched, not only that, a black woman came with it, Arabian. Look, it was this Ethiopian man, boy, busting shots. But I said, look, I know what the enemies want. I'm going to use all heathens to do this, all white people. Because it seems like y'all listen more when the white folks say it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I use all white people to back this up. So, look, let's get through this. So we see in the P document, he's called El Gabor. Then he's finally revealed his name to Moshe and Aharon as Yahweh or Jehovah.
Right, El Shaddai and Yahweh, and he's saying that under Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Shaddai, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he didn't reveal himself as Yahweh. Yeah, that's what it says in Exodus 6, 2, and 3. That was, you know what? That's been a question of mine for a long time. Like, how is it that he wasn't revealed as Yahweh to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but right here to Moses, he revealed it to him?
And the reason why is because they had to make a personal connection and relationship with Yahweh to make it seem like, dang, not even the forefathers talk to the not even the forefathers talk to Judah and them like that. He only dealing with the Levites like that. Oh man, we got to go to the Levites to get to God, because that's where the pure name was given to them at. That's where it was given to them at, and that's how they fundicated and set up their priesthood. Now look, again, we not talking against Moshe, but Aharon, hey, we got some papers on him, boy. You know how somebody go to jail to get out fast and we ask them to see them papers? Well, we need to be asking for them papers and the pedigree of Aharon, boy, because all the evidence we got against him is not good. I'm just keeping it real. It's not good at all. It's not good at all. All right, let's keep it going.
Why Doc, and Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain and said, I have gotten a man from Yahweh. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground.
So we see that Adam already knew the name of God, Yahweh, the creator Yahweh. Then we got in Exodus chapter 6 that, the forefathers didn't know the name. They only knew him by El Shaddai, and then he finally revealed his name, Yahweh Eheshor. Hold on, let me read that again. Eheye Ashor Eheye. Hey, that's what it say, yo, man. That's what it say. And they talking about to say Ashor Ahaya. What they say? They don't say that. If you read it with all the daggishes in the notes there, it says Eheye Ashor Eheye. Ain't this what it say, Ak? If we reading it in the Hebrew? Yeah. That's what it said. Hey, if we gonna speak proper Hebrew here, that's what it say.
Hey, what?
That's what it say, Ak. All right, so look, so now we see, so in the first one in the P doc, we got Yahweh reveals his name to Moshe, and he also referenced El Shaddai as the past tense. Right. Then we get to the Y document, we see that Adam already knew his name as Yahweh as being of the creator. What you got?
Now right here, remember it said, 'cause somebody might say, well, it said under Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It didn't say Adam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, Exodus 12:1. Now Yahweh had said unto Abram. That said that he didn't know him by the name of Yahweh, just only El Shaddai. Genesis 12:1. Now Yahweh had said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house and to a land that I will show thee. You know what I mean? Verse 4. So Abram departed as Yahweh had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran.
Now check this out. So we just read in Exodus chapter 6 and 3, the P document. It says, and Elohim spake unto Moshe and said unto him, I am Yahweh, and I have appeared unto Abraham, Yishkak, and Yaakov by the name of, by the name of El Shaddai. But by my name Yahweh was not known to them. He said, so according to what the priest wrote in, Abraham never knew the name Yahweh. He only knew El Shaddai. Then we go to Genesis chapter 12 and 13. What it say?
And now this is Genesis 13:4. Unto the place of the altar unto the place of the altar which he had made there at the first, and there Abram called on the name of Yahweh.
Boy, would you hold that up real quick, man? Hold on, let me pull that up on. Hold on, I want to pull that up in the. Let me pull that up real quick because that's right there. What's that, man?
Genesis 13:4.
Ooh wee. Hold on, let me pull that up real fast. Let me pull that up.
Genesis 13:4. You know. And then you got Genesis 12:7. And Yahweh appeared unto Abram and said, unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto Yahweh who appeared unto him.
Yeah, but that Genesis 13:4 heavy hitter.
He called on him.
Hey, that's a heavy hitter. He called on the name. Yeah, he didn't call on El Shaddai. Mm-hmm. Look, it says unto the place of the altar which he had made there at the first. And there Abram called on the name Shem of Yahweh. Ooh-wee. Yahweh, whatever y'all want to call it. That's what it say though. But we got in Exodus, it said that he didn't know the name Yahweh. He just called him by El Shaddai. Boy, look, that's what I said. We have to deal with the contradictions, and now we have we can explain where the contradictions come from. It come from them priests. Them priests, y'all. Them priests.
Yeah.
Ooh-wee.
You know what I mean? And redacted and edited themselves into the beginning of our history.
Ooh-wee.
You know what I mean? Under the agenda of securing a bag,
straight bag,
securing riches, you know what I mean, for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to this day, I just don't see why all these mealy mouth niggas were like, what are you mad about? Like you arguing about a priesthood that don't even exist. You're arguing about a priesthood, you understand, and sacrifices that you don't even bring to them.
Yeah.
So what are you mad about? You know what I mean? Get yourself together and chill out and stop being so emotional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then what is you all the way over here for? Like, we ain't even checking for you. So what is you even over here for, arguing and trying to throw your little twos and fews, and we not checking for you? If you don't believe, keep it moving. It's just that simple.
Go start your own movement, and then you teach your own people. Let's do that. Now check this out. Let's get back to it. So many daggers, man. So many of them. So many daggers.
I mean, what, like, does that harmonize? If we got Exodus 6:2-3, where it says in the narrative that unto Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, I was not known by the name of Yahweh, but we got in Genesis 13:4 that Abraham called on the name of Yahweh. Does that conflict or does that harmonize?
That's conflict.
Yeah, the chat, let us know. Maybe we tripping. Right. Okay. Look, put a 1 in the comment or the chat section if that harmonize. Put a 2 if it conflicts.
Yeah.
Again, it says in Exodus 6:2-3, unto Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, I was not known by the name of Yahweh. We go to Genesis 13:4, and Abraham called on the name of Yahweh. Does that harmonize a conflict?
Oui.
That's all it come down to. You got to be real with yourself. Type conflict if it conflict. Type harmonize if it harmonize. Maybe we tripping.
No, not.
You know what I mean? Let's be real, man.
All right, let's keep it pushing. So let's go over into a different doc. All right, look, Moses strikes the rock. All right, I want to use this for my other lesson too, because look, we see he's striking the rock twice, showing you doublets. Here go doublets again.
Look, everybody's saying it conflict, bro.
Yeah, most definitely conflict.
You know what I mean? Let's be real with yourself.
I'm glad y'all are being real with yourselves, y'all. Look, and we seeing more doublets too. Look, we got Moshe in the beginning of the Exodus. He strikes the rock. Then we got him at the end of the Exodus in Numbers 20, him striking the rock. But I'm going to use this for the origin of the sacrifice. So I'm going to push through that one. Y'all can take a screenshot of it if y'all want to. And then too, today, this is going out to everybody, y'all. I'm going to send it to Nee, and Nee going to send it to anybody that need it. All right. Now, what I want to show y'all here, the reason why I don't have the D document pulled up, because me and Mally doing it's probably going to be a 2-part lesson on the D document. But check this out. So you see that the Y document is from the courts of Yehuda. And that's why everything around the Y document, they was only concerned about Judah. That's why you see them talking about Judah a lot. You seeing them in the southern parts of Judah. So the Y document came from people in southern Judah. Then you see the E document came from certain priests that was in Israel and Shiloh. The P document came from the priest that was in Jerusalem as well. So the E document and the P document became one in the same. That's the document that they edit the most. Look, the priest edited the E document more than everything, y'all. And all this can be tracked down. We got all the books to show you the stuff. All you got to do is simple study, and all this stuff will pop out. So notice what they was interested in. That's why you would hear about David, you know what I'm saying? But you would never read about David and his sin when it comes to the J document. When it comes to the J document, they like, oh no, we ain't finna speak about David that bad because the tribe of Judah, the scribes of Judah is the one who wrote it. So they're like, look, I ain't finna have David looking bad, but when I talk about David, it's gonna say David had a heart like the Most High. We ain't gonna speak on his sins though. You see what I'm saying? Look, certain scribes from different tribes was getting up in them deals, bro, and they was like, no, why would I speak down about the northern kingdom? We is gonna speak bad about the southern kingdom. We gonna put all they sins on blast, but we ain't gonna put none of ours on blast. Then you got the southern kingdom of Judah, like, look, I'm doing the same thing. All them Negroes in the northern kingdom, I'm bringing out all they sins. But when it come to David or any of these Judites, we ain't talking about that. For instance, Caleb was a Judite, right? Remember Moshe sent them out to spy the land? It talks about how dope he was with doing that, but he had other spies with him from different tribes. It ain't mention none of them. But then you go to a different double it account, it won't even mention Caleb, but it'll mention the people that was with Caleb, showing y'all what these people had control of the narrative, and they used it, man. They did.
Yeah,
they did.
Look, y'all just trying to be real with ourselves, man. That's it. Let's just be truthful.
So the Y document, the Yahwistic document, much evidence shows that it was written by the scribes of Yahudah, refers to the Most High as Yahweh, gives a personal name, Genesis 2 and 4. It says, only interested in the southern kingdom of Judah. Abraham dwelt in Yehuda capital, Hebron, Genesis 3 and 13. 18, let me go back because it gets deeper. Hold on. Abraham dwelled in Yehuda, capital of Hebron. Genesis 13 and 18. Caleb, the Judite, only spies out the land. See that? That was a typo I did on myself.
Spies out the lands of Judah, Numbers 13.
Numbers 13. All this is your Y document. Only tells stories about Jacob's sons, Judah. Genesis 3. Only one where it tells long stories and it's all about you. It's not about nobody else from no different tribe. Okay. Showing you they was only focused in the Y document on people in Judah. Must mean they was from where? Judah.
Yeah, Genesis 38. The scribes were from Judah.
They was from Southern Kingdom, so they only talked about people about the Southern Kingdom. And when you get into David's sins and stuff like that, they ain't even mentioned it. I guess where his sins is mentioned at in the E document. They brought all that out with Beersheba. They brought all that out. They put his dirty laundry out there. You see that? It says he eats with Abraham. This shows you where the priest came in at, right? It says he closes the ark door in Genesis 7 and 16. It makes Yahweh more personal. He's more personal with his creation. Yahweh looks for Moses to kill him in Exodus 4. So it shows Yahweh is a straight personal being, walking, talking, in creation, and Yahweh smells Noah's sacrifice like he got a nose. But again, we're going to show that all this, the sacrificing parts was edited in by redactors from the who document, y'all?
The P document.
The P document.
Yeah.
The P document. So then you get into the perspective of E's. Would you read that for me, brother?
E's perspective of the Elohim document, right? By contrast, E is especially interested in the heroes and places in the northern kingdom.
See that? So the Elohist was only worried about people from the northern kingdom. They wouldn't worry about southern Judah. So they only talked about people from the northern kingdom. But if they did talk about somebody in the scriptures from southern Judah, it was always mentioning their sins. For instance, if you read about what David did to Uriah the Hittite and all of that, that's all E document source, y'all. All E document source. Come on.
In E, Israel acquires the territories of Shechem, northern capital, by purchase, not by violence, as in Y. Site identified as burial place of Yosef. E is critical of the house of David, the southern royal family. E elevates the Ephraimite hero, Joshua.
See that? They critical of who?
David.
They critical of David, bro. Straight talking down on, look, all of David's sins is an E document.
The northern, but see, that makes sense because the northern and southern kingdom were in conflict.
They was at war with each other. And they was banging on wax through the scribes. The scribes like, oh, I'm not finna speak good about David. I'm not finna speak good about Judah. You know what I'm saying? F the southern kingdom. Flat out. But so they write all the sins in there. But then you got Jay, when they talk about the northern kingdom, bro, you see all the northern kingdom sins. You see the stuff in Shechem, them circumcising certain men and just making them look bad.
Hey, so the whole strategy of war, spinning propaganda, go back to our forefathers and the scribes.
Facts.
You know what I mean? They was spinning propaganda on one another, man.
Yeah.
Character assassinating one another.
Yeah, facts. Let's keep it going. Now, when you get to the E document, it says it uses the plural name Elohim for God. All right, Genesis 1:1. It says he is more remote, Genesis 1:2. Mostly all communication with God is indirect, Genesis 1:26. God said 10 times. He's speaking. He's not actually moving and using his hands for creation, Genesis 3:15. God speaks to Israel through divine prophets. It ain't no direct like it is in Genesis 1 with Adam. He straight commanded Adam and told Adam what to do. When you get to the E document, because the E document and the P document became one document, notice when he's speaking, it's always through prophets or it's through a Levitical priesthood or it's through dreams and visions. You would never see God speaking like he spoke to Abraham direct. You won't see God speaking like that, because they had to isolate him for we can have to pay to get to him. We have to go to the temple to be able to reach him.
Okay.
All right. Then look, the mount is called Mount Horeb. It's not called Mount Sinai. Their focus is on the northern tribe of Israel, and the voice of Elohim walked through the midst of the garden. See, the voice walked through. He didn't walk through with the voice. Everything is to keep him separate. Look, created over what?
2,113 years ago in the 9th century BCE.
Oh we. Now you got the development of the Pentateuch. All right, and y'all see the dates is there, and the only reason I put this there again to show y'all this again from a different perspective. All right, you got the J or the Y document, which is what
950 BCE.
You got the Elohis document, which is what
750 BCE,
and it was merged when?
It was merged. J and E was merged in 700 BCE.
You see that? And then all of a sudden you got that. Then you got the D coming in. But who was the last one?
The last one, y'all, believe it or not, is the priest document. 550 BCE, and the line goes all the way back to our beginnings.
See that? Y'all see that? Showing you that they had their hands in it since Genesis, y'all.
Yeah.
And then they the one who put together the rest of them, and you get your Torah or your Tanakh. Right? And then all the dates here, look, y'all research your stuff yourself. And what they say right here, the last time, restoration, and what name we see right there?
Ezra. 400 BCE. Wow.
And look, that's where you get into the books and stuff of Ezra, and we don't even have that book. Would you please do the math on the books and stuff again?
Yeah, so in 2nd Ezra, the 14th chapter, verse 21, Ezra proclaims that the law of the Torah that Moses wrote was burnt, meaning it didn't exist. When you get down to verse 44, it goes into how Ezra spoke, and then the scribes wrote down what he was uttering, and they wrote down 204 books. It says the Holy Spirit moved on Ezra, he spoke, and the scribes wrote it down. You know what I mean? So someone would say, well, that's the Torah that we got today. It's the Torah that Ezra rewrote down after the Holy Spirit was put on him. You know what I mean? And the scribes started writing. It's just one problem with that. They wrote 204 books. Your Torah that you have today is how many books? It's 5. Okay, well, you say, well, no, that's the Tanakh. Well, how many books in the Tanakh? 24.
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, in your whole Bible, it's 66 books. If you bring in the Apocrypha, it's only 80 books. So after he wrote after they wrote the 204 books, Ezra was told, keep or hide 70 of those books and publish the rest openly. 204 minus 70 is 134 books. Where are those books at? Where are they at? If your Torah is only 5 books, you know what I mean? And your Bible only got 80 if you bring in the Apocrypha. Where are the books that the Holy Spirit gave Ezra utterance to speak and the scribes wrote down in Babylon? You don't have it. What you have, we went back to the video, is a refurbished, reformed Torah. You know what I mean? Under what we call Levitical scribes and priests.
That's right.
Who reworked the history of Israel while in exile. And when they came out of Babylon, with the Babylonian Talmud, a Mishnah, and also something that was attributed to Moses called the Hatawara, the Torah. You know what I mean? You understand? And the truth about this, what you have today is not what Moses wrote, and you don't got what Ezra wrote.
So when I say that there's 2 Torahs, I mean that.
That's the truth.
That's the truth.
You understand? He put before you life and death. Choose the Torah or the law of life, y'all. And that even comes down to your diet.
Fact.
There's a living diet in what you call the Torah, and there's a death diet.
That's right.
That's just the truth, you know what I mean? So you don't have what Ezra wrote down or what Ezra spoke and the scribes wrote down. You have something else, you know what I mean? And what we done did was uncover the plot. And it ain't just us, you know what I mean? Look, the theologians, the ones with the PhDs who done studied our records straight tell you, look, this what it was right here. I know it's attributed to Moses, you understand? But no, what you have as a Torah is the work of several scribes. A whole lot of scribes with different agendas, and at times, you understand, these things are combined and passed off to you as if it's in chronological order, or if it's in sequential order, or one is just a deeper detailed breakdown of the other. No, they're actually a creation story from two different sources.
Exactly.
That's what's going on here.
Exactly. Look, believe it or not, hey, we present the evidence.
That's just what it is. Now, if you want to understand, I'm saying it again, if you want to understand the original Torah and what Moses was teaching, then you got to come up under the Messiah from Nazareth as he taught it to his 12 disciples who became apostles.
That's right.
You understand? To understand truly what Moses was given in the beginning, because it was Yahushua the Nazarene who was there in the beginning, speaking to him, speaking to Abraham and all that. Then he disappeared back into the invisible abodes.
There it go. Look,
that sound powerful.
Law of life and not the law of death. We've been serving two different gods, and we've been mingling two different gods. We've been at feast days to the Most High, sacrificing flesh and lamb to different gods. It's just the facts. You know, and look, wait till that origin of sacrifice come out. That's gonna blow y'all minds, boy. It's gonna blow y'all minds. All right, can we get this P perspective, the priestly perspective?
Hey, y'all, if y'all want the actual presentation, then yeah, Nehemiah's in the chat. He gonna post his email again. Email him, and we gonna make sure y'all get it. The P's perspective, or the priest document. P, the priestly author, is very concerned with the rites and rituals of the Aaronoid priests of the Jerusalem temple.
Hold on, let's read that again.
The P, or the priestly author, is very concerned with the rites and rituals of the Aaronoid priest of the Jerusalem temple. No one, not Noah, not Abraham, offers a sacrifice prior to Aaron. Aaron's staff performs miracles, not Moses.
You see that?
Aaron does not make the golden calf, as in E. Animals do not talk, as in J.
And the reason why they had to make the animals not talk, they had to make the animals seem more like pets, or more like they was insignificant, because they knew they had to slaughter them. So you won't see an ass talking. You won't see Adam naming creation and being personal with the animals and with the creation, because they knew that they had to they had to put an emotional disconnect between us and the animals to be able to kill them, and us to allow that. See that? So you would never see animals talking. You would never, in the pre-document, you never see them treating animals nicely. It's always just for killing. You know what I'm saying? Animals is just for killing, sacrifices, and food. So they had to change our relationship with the animals. Now, you will see animals being hostile and stuff like that, but you would never, ever, ever see nothing else. You know what I'm saying? Like in the P document, you got grizzly bears eating children.
Man, look.
In the P document, you got grizzly bears eating children. Me reading that at a young age, I automatically hated grizzly bears after that. I'm like, I want to kill them. See that? You look, this was psychologically done here, y'all. This is psychological warfare that the priest of Aharon was putting out.
Let me answer this real quick. Oct 12 tribes athlete, can y'all give one example of feast days and how to observe them, how to properly observe them? Absolutely, bro. We gonna before we get done, y'all just remind me. We'll read how the Messiah observed Passover during his youth and what we call his last meal. You know what I mean? That way you can understand exactly, you know what I mean, how to get down. Absolutely, everything is a memorial. Also, the brother Yehuda ben Yashar, he says Shaphan found a copper scroll that had been sitting in the temple for 800 years. They realized they weren't supposed to be killing innocent animals.
The copper scrolls, and I got a book on the copper scrolls, bro. I got a whole book just on the copper scrolls.
You see that? Like we didn't know that brother knew that.
Yeah.
We didn't know that brother knew that and was going to, you know what I mean, bring that out. We actually got that.
I got that book talking about the copper scrolls, getting into the Aleppo and all of that. I got that. Yeah. See that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we look. There's so much information we got coming. Like, look, it's so much. It's gonna take us like months to get all this information. That's how much info. It's so overwhelming, y'all. We ain't just working with a little bit of sources here. We got look, the cup runneth over.
Exactly. Exactly. But all praises, you know what I mean? And again, y'all, none of us can validate anything for you. You know what I mean? You got to get back to listening to the voice of the Most High. The voice of the Most High is what he's been speaking to you before you can remember. He communes with you all the time.
Yes, he does.
The voice of the Most High is not in a book. I know that maybe made some of y'all spill your yak.
Yeah.
Or your coffee.
The word of God is the Bible. No, it's not. The word of God is his first begotten.
Yeah, and his spirit, his ruach, it speaks to you.
Facts.
There's a reason why this is called the temple. You know what I mean? We just got to get back to listening to the voice of the Most High.
That's right.
Who has been speaking to us before we can remember. You know what I mean? And that's why I've been saying either what we saying ignites your spirit and gives you a hunger and a thirst to search these things out, or, you know what I mean, you know, chew on a brimstone sandwich and act as if what we saying is evil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And go do your own thing. Either it inspires you or it angers you, one or the other. If it resonates with you, come on with it, man.
Yeah, facts.
You know what I mean? And we ain't hide nothing, not even our sources.
Nope.
You know what I mean? If we had something to hide, we'd be all secretive.
No, we showing books. We putting up books.
Yeah.
Well, I even named where I got some slides from and everything. Yeah. I even gave y'all the name of the lady, Christine Haynes. All of that. We ain't hiding nothing. This is out here. All right, let's read the rest of this off real quick.
All right, Aaron does not P's perspective. The priestly author is very concerned with I read that already.
Okay.
Aaron does not make the golden calf as in E. Animals do not talk as in J.
Okay. All right, let me move that again. All right, so what I put is the priest documents. Much evidence shows that it was written by the scribes for Kohen, or Kohanim priests, only concerned with the laws, the rites, the rituals, and the Aaronic priests of the Jerusalem temple. Exodus 20, Levi chapter 1, the whole book of Levi, Numbers chapter 2, and all chapters. Aharon doesn't make a golden calf, and E, of course, Aaron's staff works miracles, not Moses. That is Exodus chapter 7, verse 14, where it says that, and look, everybody think that Moses' staff and Aaron's rise were two different things. No, it wasn't. That was the same staff. But two different sources talked about it, and one was uplifting Moses and the other one was putting down Moses. One was uplifting Aharon like the priest was, and one was putting down Aharon, which is his lineage. Of course they wouldn't speak good about Moses. Look, they even had arguments when you get into the documents and get into all the facts. They had arguments about them being brothers or not. They had arguments about them being brothers or not, just like it's been arguments whether Christ was the biological son or not of Joseph.
Right.
All these things exist, family. We have to deal with these things.
I mean, look, and going back 2,000 years, man, like, that's what I'm saying. What is it? A lot of our people getting mad in modern time, y'all. These are arguments that's been happening.
Facts.
You know what I mean? These are arguments that's been producing conflict. All you can do is decide what side you on, man. That's it. That's it.
Yep. And then check this out. And then with the last point, Aharon keeps his sons separated from Moses and his sons. And that's all throughout the Torah too. You know what I'm saying? You'll see that Aaron and his sons is the only ones that can go back behind the holies of holies. All right. Now here go another one. This is another source, the P document. Could you read this, brother?
P document. Priest documents. Much evidence show it was written by the priest. Speaks of God as plural and not singular. Elohim, powers. Polytheism opens the door for sacrifices to other gods. Israel learned this pagan customs from other cultures. Speaks of God as being cosmic and inaccessible. Making him inaccessible allowed them to keep the temple thriving, because in order to reach God, you had to go through Aaron and his sons. Always a gathering and assembling. Israel, governing Israel, capitalism, dictatorship, laws, rituals, washing, sacrifices, festivals, tithes. Speaks of God as being dreadful and harsh, to force temple worship and to serve with fear. The P created in the Babylonian exile of 6th century BCE.
And them dates line up, and then I'm ending it with her. I'm gonna end it with, well, I'm not ending with her. I got one more after her. Let's listen to her one more time, and y'all go back and listen to the whole thing, because she had some dispositions, and she didn't really like Wellheinzen. So go back and listen to it. And she said that he was very hateful when it came towards the Jews, and she didn't believe that the Jews. She said even though it's conflict of evidence and everybody else saying the same thing, she didn't believe that the priests were doing all of that, but they was, and that's the reason why she's teaching this in her curriculum. So let's listen to it one more time.
Glory, but what it refers to actually is a light-filled cloud. God seems to be the burning fire inside this light-filled cloud. He travels before the Israelites in that form, leading them through the wilderness and so on. That seems to be in the P source. P is also interested in covenants, in censuses, in genealogies. All of those sections, very often that link stories, are attributed to the P source. And because P elements often serve that kind of function as a bridge between stories, or very often P sources seem to introduce a story or conclude a story, the source critics felt that priestly writers were probably responsible for the final editing of the Bible, bringing together J and E and D and adding their materials and finally editing the work. Now, Wellhausen dated the priestly source to the period, the exilic period, to the period after the fall of the southern kingdom in 586, when the Babylonians have taken many of the Judeans into exile in Babylon. So P, J, and the narrative parts of P, J, and E are continuous parallel accounts of the history of the world, if you will, from creation until the death of Moses. Source critics believe that they have a uniform style, uniform vocabulary, uniform set of themes, and a chronological framework. So according to Wellhausen, and I've sort of schematized it chronologically for you up here, the priestly school drew together all of this older material, added some of its own editorial material, bridges, introductions, conclusions.
Yes, the P source is most definitely works of Hashatime, man, I'm telling you.
Of Leviticus and Numbers. And so the Torah, and they did this sitting in exile in Babylon, and so the Torah is really the result of 5 centuries of religious and literary activity. And this, of course, is a very, very different portrait from traditional claims about the authorship of the Pentateuch by one man, Moses, in approximately the 14th century.
Oh, wait. Now, this is the last slide of this lesson, and then after this, we're coming out with the origin of the sacrifices, and we most definitely bringing out the conflict and war between Paul and Peter. Would you read this, my brother?
Priestly source.
This from Wikipedia, y'all. This from Wikipedia.
The priestly source, or simply P, is perhaps the most widely recognized source underlying the Torah. It is both stylistically and theologically distinct from other material in the Torah, and includes a set of claims that are contradicted by 9 priestly passages and therefore uniquely characteristic.
So, hold on. Do that say Wikipedia?
That's Wikipedia.
Did we write this?
Nah.
Come on.
It says,
hold on, let's go back to the country. Let's go back to it is both.
It is both stylistically and theologically distinct from other material in the Torah, and includes a set of claims that are contradicted. That are contradicted by 9 priestly passages and therefore uniquely characteristic. No sacrifice before the institution is ordained by Yahweh God at Sinai. The exalted status of Aaron and the priesthood, and the use of the divine title El Shaddai before God reveals his name to Moses.
Everything I'm saying, look, and we came to this conclusion before I even found it. I said, let me just Wikipedia the P source. Boy, it summarized everything I've been saying. Come on.
Where I'm at right there. Before God reveals his name to Moses, to name a few. In general, the priestly work is concerned with priestly matters, ritual law, the origin of shrines and rituals, and genealogies, all expressed in a formal, repetitive style. It stresses the rules and rituals of worship and the crucial role of priests, expanding considerably on the role given to Aaron.
Not Moses, but given to who?
Aaron. All Levites are priests, but according to P, only the descendants of Aaron were to be allowed to officiate in the inner sanctuary.
There it is. So with that being said, take all of that. We're going to send these out, study this, because y'all are going to need to know this when we bring out the origins of sacrifices. We finna read this out of y'all because somebody asked how to keep the feast, so we're gonna get to that. I hope y'all got some understanding and some overstanding and understanding over this entire lesson. For those that just seen this, please go back and read and rewatch the first one, which is part 1. And look, you know what I'm saying? Look, we gonna get to it. We not twisting your arm to believe this is either resonate with your spirit or not.
No doubt, hallelujah. All right, bruh wanted to know about how to observe the feast. Well, I'm gonna go into the Gospel of the Holy 12, which was written by the apostle of the Messiah, John, who wrote Revelations around 70 AD. You know what I mean? AKA the gospel of the Nazarenes. There's a lot of Negroes that got their panties in a bunch right now. You know what I mean? Mad because we bringing these things out. But look, you'll be all right. All right. So the question would be basically, how do you keep a meatless feast? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. How do you do it? You know what I mean? Because, you know, even though there were brothers and sisters in the scripture who strictly stuck to Genesis 1 and 29, they had to be in there. Paul even was writing against them. He called them weak, didn't he?
Yeah.
Romans 14, Romans 15, he called those who eat herbs, he called them weak.
Yeah.
Okay, so you never ask yourself, well, how does those that only eat herbs observe Passover if they're not eating lamb? Because a lot of brother, well, if you ain't eating lamb, you're sinning.
No, well, according to Paul and his writings, there were people keeping feasts that didn't eat the Passover lamb, and he didn't say they were sinning, but he did call them weak, showing you all the shots that he was shooting at James and the Nazarites of Nazarene. But you know, that's gonna be in our lesson after the origin of the sacrifice when we start revealing the war between Paul and James. Man, it's deep. It gets deep, y'all.
Hey, look, Paul and the appointed apostles by Messiah himself. All right, this right here is childhood. This is chapter 6 in the Gospel of the Holy 12, aka the Gospel of the Nazarenes, first century document before Council of Nicaea. All right, childhood and youth of Yeshua the Nazarene. Now, Joseph and Mary, his parents, went up to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover, and they observed the feast after the manner of their brethren who abstained from bloodshed and the eating of flesh and from strong drink.
Read that one more time.
Gospel of the Nazarenes, Gospel of the Holy 12, chapter 6, childhood and youth of Jesus or Yeshua the Nazarene. Now, Joseph and Mary, his parents, went up to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover, and they observed the feast after the manner of their brethren who abstained from bloodshed and the eating of flesh and from strong drink.
So they didn't drink at the Passover nor eat flesh at the Passover.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Showing you every Israelite didn't, because there was different sects and factions. Everybody didn't observe the feast the same way because everybody didn't handle what you call the Torah the same way.
Yeah, fact.
Understand?
Fact.
Nazarenes who come out of the Essenes didn't eat flesh. That's just what it is. Look, all historical evidence points to that.
Facts.
All research points to that. They didn't eat flesh. You know what I mean? They stayed away from it. All right. This right here is the last Passover supper, or the last Paschal supper, chapter 75, Gospel of the Holy 12. And in the evening, Messiah came into the house, and there were gathered with him the 12 and their fellows, Peter and Jacob, and Thomas and John, and Simon and Matthew, and Andrew and Nathaniel, and James and Thaddeus, and Philip and their companions. And there was also Judas Iscariot, who by men was numbered with the 12, till the time when he should manifest his destiny. Verse 2, and they were all clad in garments of white linen, pure and clean, for linen is the righteousness of the saints, and each had a color of his tribe. But Yahushua was clad in his pure white robe over all, without seam or spot. Verse 3, and there arose contention among them as to which of them should be esteemed the greatest. Wherefore he said to them, he that is greatest among you, let him be as he that does serve. Then Judas, the newest member, who had not yet been fully initiated in the mysteries, asked, where will you have us prepare the Passover? And Yahushua answered, what I desire with desire at this Passover, to eat flesh with you, before I am to institute the memorial of my oblation for the service and salvation of all. For behold, the hour approaches when the Son of Man shall be betrayed into the hands of traitors. And one of the 12 said to him, Yahushua, is it I? And he answered, he to whom I give the sop, the same is he. And Iscariot said to him, Yahushua, behold the unleavened bread and the mingled wine, that's wine with water, y'all, and the oil and the herbs. So y'all heard that? There's unleavened bread, organic wine, meaning wine mixed with water, oil and herbs. That's how Nazarenes keep the Passover. But where is the lamb that Moses commanded? For Judas had bought the lamb, but Yahushua forbidden that it should be killed. You see, he was against the killing of the lamb. Now watch this. Verse 7. And John spoke in the spirit, saying, behold, the lamb, the good shepherd, which gives his life for the sheep. And Judas was troubled at these words, for he knew that he should betray him. But again, Judas said, Yeshua, is it not written in the law that a lamb must be slain for the Passover within the gates? And Yeshua answered, you have walked with me even this short time, and yet ask me this? If I am lifted up on the cross, then indeed shall the lamb be slain. But woe to him by whom it is woe to him by whom it is delivered into the hands of the slayers. It were better for him that had he not been born. He's saying, I'm the lamb. I'm about to die. You understand? I'm about to be delivered to the hands of traitors. But woe unto him who deliver me up. Verse 9. Verily I say unto you, for this end have I come into the world, that I may put away all blood offerings and the eating of the flesh of the beasts and the birds that are slain by men. In the beginning, the Creator gave to all the fruits of the trees and the seeds of the herbs for food.
Genesis 1:29.
But those who love themselves more than the Lord or their fellows corrupted their ways and brought diseases into their bodies and filled the earth with lust and violence, not by shedding innocent blood, therefore, but by living a righteous life shall you find peace. Not by shedding innocent blood, therefore, but by living a righteous life shall you find peace. Walk in the way, and you shall find the Most High. Seek truth, and the truth shall make you free. Live in the life, and you shall see no death. All things are alive in the spirit of the Creator, who fills all things. Keep the commandments. Love Yahweh with all your heart, and love your neighbor as yourself, even all living things. Love your neighbor as yourself, even all living things. On these hang all the law and the prophets, and the sum of the law is this: do unto others as you would that others should do unto you. Blessed are they who keep this law, for the Creator is manifest in all creatures.
In all what?
In all creatures. And all creatures live in the Creator. After these things, Yeshua dipped the sop and gave it to Judas Iscariot, saying, what you will do quickly.
Judas Iscariot. He gave it to Judas Iscariot. Judas Iscariot.
Judas Iscariot.
That is funny, man. Hey, but look, peep what we peeped though. He said that the meat is causing disease, y'all. Did y'all peep that?
Yes.
He said the flesh is causing disease, and he said if you eating meat, you don't love yourself. Did y'all peep that?
Yeah.
Hey,
y'all peeped?
if you love yourself.
Yeah.
You
know what I mean? Love your neighbor, yourself, and all creatures of the Most High.
Hey, and real quick before you start reading this, look, y'all, we done offended a lot of people because we didn't have this knowledge back then. We was indoctrinated at one point too. I called Peasy personally and told him that I apologize for us getting on that radio station with well, I ain't gonna call him a brother because he's not a brother, but with wicked Jacob and all of that. You know what I'm saying? I personally called Peasy. He talked to Peasy on a separate account too, but we actually talked to Peasy and apologized for even going in on him like that over Jeremiah 8:8. I called him the day of his show and I said, you was right, brother, and I want to tell you that as a man I was wrong and I shouldn't have never blasted your name over the airways like that, and I apologize. And we all squashed the beef between me and him. Me and Divine Prospect, we squashed our stuff too at the in Detroit, what was that, 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago at the gathering with the Negroes to Hebrews. You know what I'm saying? So look, I'm apologize to him on World Wide Web too. Hey, my brother, Divine Prospect, I apologize for blasting you out on their radio station as well. You know what I'm saying? That is a wicked radio station. That shit is like Jerry Springer. I was caught up in it. We all was caught up in it. And I'm telling Divine Prospect, I apologize for even putting your name in my mouth.
Me too.
And I didn't know what I was talking about at the time. You actually was right. Peasy, I apologize for putting your name in my mouth. I didn't know what I was talking about at the time. Now I see that everything that you brothers was bringing forth is actually the truth. So look, we apologize as men for and on the record, y'all.
That's right. You know what I mean? Hey, look, and I second all that. Me too. You know what I mean? The one thing we ain't afraid of, you know what I mean? Or even we get weak and admit when we've been wrong. We've been wrong before.
Yes, we have.
You know what I mean? We've been wrong before. You dig? Now, true about this. After these things, Yahshua dipped the sop and gave it to Judas Iscariot, saying, "What you will do, do quickly." He then, having received the sop, went out immediately, and it was night. And when Judas Iscariot had gone out, Yahshua said, "Now is the Son of Man glorified among his 12, and Yahweh is glorified in him. And verily I say to you, they who receive you receive me, and they who receive me receive the Most High who sent me. To you who follow me in the regeneration of the elect, I appoint a kingdom, as the same has been appointed to me, and you who have been faithful to the truth shall sit upon the 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel." And one said to him, "Yahshua, will you at this time restore the kingdom to Israel?" And Yahshua said, "My kingdom is not of this world, neither are all Israel which are called Israel. They are those in every nation who defile not themselves with cruelty, who do righteousness, have mercy, love, and reverence all the works of the law, who give succor to all that are weak and oppressed. The same are the true Israel."
Hallelujah. Boy, you see that? You see that, y'all?
Boy.
So look, that concludes this lesson, y'all. I hope all of y'all got some understanding, overstanding, and understanding on here. If you still is against everything we just taught, look, just stay off the channel. Ain't no point of being on here. If you agree and you just want to stay, if you disagree and you want to stay around and learn something or even try to debunk that, go ahead, do you. But all the disrespect we're not doing no more. You know what I'm saying? Again, we was on that wicked radio station saying a lot of bad things about brothers' personal lives, assassinating people's characters and speaking on people's households. For everybody, even for the people that was still wrong and we was right. Hey, look, I apologize, y'all. I apologize for camp banging, gang banging in the truth, like we Crips and Bloods when we all supposed to be a Messiah. I apologize for anybody I ever spoke on. This let you know, for a man think he know anything, he don't know nothing at all, flat out. So hey, I'm arriving to that point, and I'm man enough to admit that, brother Peasy, you was right. Straight up, Divine Prospect, brother Ryan, you was right.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And on a lot of instances too, Zion Lex, brother, we talk all the time. Bro, you was right. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I ain't talking about on the Messiah though. I believe in the Messiah wholeheartedly. You know what I'm saying? To the bone gristle, I believe in the firstborn and the first creation. I'm not talking about that. But everything else you was talking about, Zion, we talk a lot. Bro, you was right. Y'all was right, man.
And look, a lot of and look, especially him and Ron Shields, man, they some of the top scholars in the nation.
In the nation.
You know
Let's
what
keep it real.
Yeah, when you get into it and start looking at certain things, you're like, yeah, you know what I mean? Bro was actually bringing it out back then. So I second all that. I apologize as well. You know what I mean? And that's just what it is. You dig? And look, this is what y'all need to trip off of dealing with us. You know what I mean? Anybody coming against us, somebody is teaching life and somebody is teaching death. Keep it that simple.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Teaching life?
Who's teaching life and who's teaching death? You know what I mean? And look, if we the ones that's teaching life, then you know what I mean? Hey, salute. They dig. If they the ones teaching death, mark them. Mark them. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? And again, you know, a lot of our enemies, they ratings about to go up because you know what I mean. They really ain't got nothing to talk about unless Malachi and Yaki in their mouth. You know what I mean? So, you know, y'all need to go ahead and be thanking us more than just running y'all mouth.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Because, you know what I mean? We help you fill your coffers up or whatnot.
Facts.
You know what I mean? But it don't matter, man. People can talk. You know, we used to that. We've been in war before. We've been in the hot seat plenty of times. You know what I mean? And truth be told, I'm comfortable in it now. You know what I mean? So it's all good, y'all. Peace, love, light, healing, and plenty more. Again, somebody's talking life, somebody's talking death. If you keep it that simple and just trip off what's being brought out, then you can arrive at a righteous decision minus the emotion.
Facts.
You know what I mean? All praise, glory.
So with that being said, peace, love, light, healing, family. Peace to the gods, peace to the earth. Shabbat shalom, lakah, family. We love y'all.
Hey, make sure y'all get with Nehemiah. You know what I mean? Get with Nehemiah if y'all want this presentation. We about to email it to him, and we gonna allow Nehemiah. Look at Nee over there.
Nee, you got some work to do.
Nee over there with them gold shots. hey, Nee over there like that. That Nee gonna email the whole thing out to y'all. That's what it's about, y'all. You know what I mean? Look, we sharing all our resources. You know what I mean? We ain't had nothing, and it's time to go ahead and jump back out here and study our body. You know what I mean? Hey, you may find something we ain't find.
Yeah, facts.
Let's get her done.
And look, y'all. Hey, choose life, not death, man. Choose life, not death. I'm gonna say it again. Choose life, not death. And we just want y'all to live. That's it, family. So with that being said, we love y'all. Peace, love, light, and healing, family. Peace to the gods. Peace to the earth.
Yahoo.
Shalom lakah. Shabbat shalom lakah.